There's no way anyone would ever love me. Yes, that's what I used to think. I want to dedicate my everything to you. Even I, someone who has always felt like a leftover, might just be allowed to find happiness. There is no such thing in this world as a spring that arrives too late. The sparkle in his eyes, I felt as though it made me believe just that. Come to think of it, my life has been nothing but a succession of leftovers. I was born into this world as the third daughter of the Duchy of Richeril. The Richeril are a noble and illustrious house, enjoying such deep trust from the royal family that they have held a succession of high-ranking offices. Among the nobility, there are even those who would fall to their knees at the mere mention of their name. As the third daughter, others might say I come from a privileged background.
But the reality is quite different. Because my mother was not the legal wife but a mistress, I alone, even among my own siblings, have been treated with coldness and neglect ever since I was a child.
Whether it was the food, the clothes, or even my room, every single thing was my siblings' leftovers. My mother alone would tell me day after day, as if singing it, "You are more beautiful than anyone else." But those precious moments of warmth and love with my mother were the only light in my dark childhood. Since my mother passed away, I stopped being treated like a lady. On the contrary, my days are spent being ordered around as if I were nothing more than a servant. Even so, if only I get married, I can escape this suffering. No matter who I end up marrying, it has to be better than this. Clinging to that belief, I endured the bitterness and the pain. But as I reached out toward that distant dream, my harsh reality remained unchanged. In the end, that moment never came. Years passed, and I remained trapped within the cold walls of this estate, serving those who despised me. Anna, how long are you going to just stand there spacing out? Hurry up and get the master's meal ready right now. Squeezing the cold water from the rag, I silently steel myself to return to my endless chores. With no other choice, I go about my work in the bustling kitchen. My father likely loathed the idea of giving someone like me, a bastard child, away in marriage. As a result of a life spent subsisting solely on leftovers, I myself became a leftover in the end. A noble lady who, at the age of 28, remains unmarried. For such a person, surely there is no need to pass judgment. High Priest, this is merely a formality, something akin to a ritual. It is a procedure that all unmarried daughters of ducal houses are required to undergo. Well, I suppose she is no longer at a position where it would be appropriate to address her as lady. As always, the High Priest and his retinue are certainly full of energy today. The ones conversing in the hallway are priests dispatched by the state. In terms of social rank, the nobles stand higher. For any ordinary noble, regardless of who they might be, this is the sort of conversation that would rightfully provoke anger. But as for me, that is not how I react. I simply turn the page of my book, remaining completely unfazed by their cruel words. I have grown completely accustomed to being subjected to such prejudice by others. It no longer disturbs me in the slightest. With a soft creak, the double doors open, and the priests step inside to begin the ceremony.
I trust you are in good spirits, Lady Anna.
Greetings. I return their greeting with a calm, practiced composure as they prepare the sacred items on the table.
Now, Lady Anna, if you would please drink the holy water, and then would you be so kind as to touch this crystal ball?
This trial is a ritual intended to identify the saintess. Moreover, it appears that this constitutes a part of the ritual, specifically a process meant to purge impurities and purify the body prior to facing the divine judgment. A saintess is a being akin to a goddess, one capable of wielding unique magic, adept at the art of winning hearts, and destined to save the nation in its hour of peril. According to legend, once every few centuries, a woman with the requisite aptitude is said to emerge from within the ducal house. Apparently, the troublesome part is that neither the age at which it manifests nor the specific year it will appear is known whatsoever. It seems that a saintess is invariably expected to be unmarried. Now that you've drunk the holy water, please touch the ball. It is said to respond only when touched by one whose heart is truly pure, one who possesses the true nature of a saint. It is a ritual so utterly futile that it leaves one at a loss, a waste of time, money, of absolutely everything. I have no expectations whatsoever, knowing my place as an unloved leftover. There was a time in my childhood when that thought made my heart flutter with excitement, but that radiant young girl is nowhere to be found here now. The woman standing here is a lady of 28. Given that in aristocratic society, one typically marries by the age of 20 or 21 at the very latest, it is only to be expected that I would be mocked as a leftover. With a silent sigh, I reach out and place both of my hands onto the smooth, cool surface of the crystal ball. But the moment my fingers make contact, my eyes widen in absolute shock. A brilliant, blinding light suddenly bursts forth from the crystal ball, completely enveloping the room as I gasp in utter disbelief. What's this? Oh my! Overwhelmed by the intense energy, I take a step back in alarm as the crystal ball continues to shine with a divine light. Head priest, one of the priests murmurs in sheer astonishment, staring forward as the sacred crystal ball reacts. Anna, a silver-haired woman dressed as a maid, defends herself with a look of pure confusion. I certainly wasn't cheating. In fact, I'm the most surprised of all. Under the mystical light, Anna recalls the past. If I include the times my sisters performed it, I have witnessed this ritual countless times. As she stares at the crystal ball, her thoughts linger on its history. Yet never, not once, has anyone ever seen the crystal glow. The head priest and his assistant look anxious and excited as they urge her on. For now, please give the ritual another go. Trembling with anticipation, Anna raises both of her hands, hovering them just above the smooth surface of the glowing crystal ball. The moment she gets closer, a brilliant, blinding light bursts from the crystal ball, completely enveloping the room and leaving the priests in utter shock. Anna closes her eyes, basking in the serene yet overwhelming divine aura of the radiating light. She stands quietly as the brilliant blue and white light flows around her, signaling a power unlike anything seen before. Anna slowly opens her left eye, revealing her sparkling purple iris, which seems to reflect the divine magic surrounding her. The light gently fades, leaving Anna standing in silent awe of the incredible phenomenon she has just caused. Sometime later, in the quiet of the night, Anna holds an envelope and wonders to herself, a letter from the church? I wonder if it has anything to do with that ritual. She opens the letter to find a startling official decree. We hereby appoint the Duke's daughter, Anna Rischerl, as the Saintess. Clutching the parchment in disbelief, Anna's eyes widen as she exclaims, "What does this mean?" The grand estate of the Stella family stands quiet and imposing under the starry night sky. A handsome blonde man dressed in a fine blue uniform reads the letter and smiles. I see. So they finally found her. He wears a subtle, intriguing smirk, clearly pleased with the news of the newly appointed Saintess. Sitting in his study by the large window overlooking the grounds, he murmurs, "It seems things will get interesting from here on." Back in her modest quarters, Anna finishes packing her suitcase and wipes the sweat from her forehead. Phew! An official document is revealed, along with her thoughts. Unless I'm just dreaming something convenient, this has to be one of my little sister's pranks. For a while, I seriously convinced myself of that. That's why I tried not to think too deeply about it and simply waited for the reveal. But furthermore, in accordance with reality and royal decree accordingly, by regulation, you will soon enter into an official marriage with Crown Prince Silvio. Anna stands frozen in her room, holding the letter as she tries to process the sudden, life-changing news. Looking out at the beautiful garden of the palace, she considers her immediate future. First, for the purpose of deepening our relationship before marriage, it seems I'll be living together with His Highness at his estate for about a month. Preparing for her departure, Anna spends her final hours cleaning the dusty window frame of her small servant room. A soft, hesitant voice interrupts her chores. "Anna, you're really leaving, huh?" She turns around to find a young boy standing by the door. The young boy, Riterio Stella, stands before her, holding a pink cloth with a sad, downcast expression. Riterio is shown standing in front of a framed portrait of his parents. In other words, the future head of the Stella family. Despite his high status and lineage, he is still a vulnerable child. Even so, he's still only 5 years old. It seems that parting from someone is painful for a child his age. Anna smiles warmly at him and gently pats his white hair. "Don't look so down, Riterio." Riterio leans into her gentle touch, closing his eyes. In life, within the Stella household, he was a special existence to me. She recalls her harsh treatment by his parents, treated me like a servant rather than a member of the ducal house. Riterio, however, had always been a source of light. Being addressed casually and worked to the bone was an everyday occurrence. Anna remembers the times they ran through the hallways together. He treated me as family and was always warm and friendly toward me. Cupping his small face in her hands, Anna comforts him. "Come on, don't make such a sad face. It's not like we'll never see each other again, okay?" Riterio blushes slightly and looks away, muttering, "If only I were a little." Surprised by his sudden hesitation, Anna asks, Looking up at her with determination and a bright blush, Riterio confesses, "If only I were just a little older, I could have married you, Anna." Anna gasps softly, her eyes widening in surprise at the boy's innocent and sweet declaration. Smiling tenderly at him, she says, "Even if you're just being sweet, that makes me happy. Thank you." Riterio stands quietly next to her, holding a duster to help as she wipes down the windows one last time. Now dressed in a traveling dress, Anna stands in the center of her room, preparing to leave. It didn't take very long to pack my belongings. After all, the room I had lived in for over 5 years was merely a servant's room. She gently pulls the strings of a small pouch closed. I placed inside the charm I had carried since childhood, and once I tied shut the drawstring pouch, my preparations were complete. Looking back at her room, she whispers, "Thank you very much." Taking one last look at her small quarters, she reflects, "It seems this room never truly became my place to belong until the very end." Anna opens the door to leave and bids farewell to the boy. "Goodbye, Retirio. I'm sure we'll see each other again soon, so don't cry." She turns around with a bright, comforting smile. "Okay." Retirio clenches his jaw, trying his best to hold back his tears as his beloved aunt departs. Anna walks down the grand, empty hallway of the estate carrying her suitcase. It's unfortunate, but this is where I must part with my adorable nephew. He won't be able to come out to see me off. As she reaches the door, a cold voice suddenly calls out from the shadows. The reason for that was, "You're late, Anna." Melissa Stella, a haughty woman with long white hair and crossed arms, stands amidst a dark, thorny garden. "The carriage is already here, you know. How dare you keep me waiting out here?" Melissa smiles with cold, passive-aggressive cruelty. It was because Retirio was conscious of the eyes of his mother, Melissa. "Can't you even finish packing properly until the very end?" Anna reflects on her sister's cruelty. She had instructed everyone in the mansion to treat me strictly as a servant. Apparently, she would even raise her voice and scold anyone who disobeyed. Retirio was no exception, which is why we kept our closeness a secret. Anna bows her head with practiced restraint, murmuring, "My apologies, Lady Melissa." In her thoughts, Anna maintains her composure, keeping her feelings hidden behind a soft, polite smile. Melissa points an angry finger at her, demanding, "You think acting all humble like that means I won't notice you looking down on me inside, don't you?" To which Anna calmly replies, "No, not at all. I have never thought of such a thing, not even for a moment." Melissa sneers with absolute disdain, saying, "You only became a saintess because of some divine whim. The idea of a leftover like you becoming a prince's bride is completely ridiculous." Unable to contain her burning jealousy, Melissa fumes, "Even I couldn't catch the prince, so why should someone like you? This pisses me off." As Melissa continues to rage, Anna remains unaffected. The harsh, pointed words she spat felt almost like curses, but they could no longer hurt Anna, who had already been pushed to her absolute breaking point. She had been pushed to the point of believing the world itself was hopeless, so she simply smiled and devoted herself to listening to the insults without arguing back. Smiling gently, Anna tells herself, in the end, this is the best way to avoid provoking one of her tantrums. Melissa scoffs, tossing her head back. "You think being meek makes you look virtuous? Typical for a mistress's brat." Anna simply bows her head in silent resignation. Knowing this would be the last day she would ever have to endure these insults made the abuse bearable. Melissa smirks viciously, warning her, "This is obviously just a loveless political marriage anyway. There's no way you'll ever be loved." Melissa points a mocking finger, saying, "Just because you got lucky and became a saintess doesn't change the fact that you're already 28, right?" Melissa continues to belittle her, saying, "And a gloomy, charmless woman like you at that. The prince must be terribly disappointed." She boasts with a haughty gesture. "Even I couldn't win him over, no matter how aggressively I pursued him, you know?" Anna quietly agrees, looking down with a soft, bittersweet smile as she whispers, "That's true." Reflecting on the situation, Anna notes, "I only learned this after everything happened, but apparently when a saintess appears, she must be accepted as the lawful wife of the prince of the era. That is the law of this kingdom." Melissa snickers behind her hand, saying, "Though with a body that pitiful, it's probably pointless." Anna recalls the rumors she heard about her future husband. "I had heard that his exceptional appearance alone was enough to captivate women at first sight, and that even his bearing possessed the dignity worthy of the next king. On the other hand, I had also heard rumors that he was laid back and rarely smiles." Anna bows deeply to Melissa, promising, "I shall conduct myself so as not to cause any trouble," which only prompts Melissa to let out a haughty scoff. Well, obviously. Holding her suitcase, Anna suddenly pauses as her eyes widen in surprise. She spots young Retirio peeking sadly from behind a pillar and gasps, "Retirio?" Looking at him, Anna's heart warms as she thinks to herself, "What a sweet, innocent child he is." Anna approaches the shy young boy with a gentle, comforting smile, offering him a warm farewell. Retirio peeks out from behind the wall and waves his small hand, giving her a sweet, blushing smile to send her off. With a light heart, Anna turns away from the estate and begins walking down the stone pathway with her suitcase. Suddenly, a maid comes running up to Anna from behind, holding a small package and calling out to her. The maid politely hands Anna a neatly wrapped blue gift box adorned with a matching blue ribbon. Holding the present, a puzzled Anna turns back to her sister and asks, Lady Melissa, what is this? The blue gift box sparkles brilliantly, decorated with falling flower petals, as if to signify its importance. Melissa sneers, waving her hands dramatically. You, whose abilities and birth are both lacking. Your very existence is already rude enough. Anna begins to thank her, saying, I see, Lady Melissa, thank you very... But Melissa cuts her off sharply. Make absolutely sure you say you prepared it yourself, all right? Otherwise, it won't look good for us. And of course, you're not to open it until you hand it over. Anna wonders if Melissa was actually trying to preserve the family's dignity in her own way. Melissa turns her back with a cold huff, stating, I have no use for a servant who's leaving. Hurry up and go already. I don't even want to see your face. To speed her departure, Melissa reaches out and roughly shoves Anna from behind, urging her to leave the premises. As Melissa walks back toward the mansion, Anna reflects on their dynamic. I knew she had kept me in the mansion solely to satisfy that kind of self-esteem. I had nowhere else to go, which is why I continued serving here until now. Carrying her suitcase and the gift, Anna boards the elegant black carriage waiting to take her to her new life. As the carriage doors close, Anna rests the blue package on the velvet seat beside her and reflects, but today marks the end of that. Anna catches her reflection in the window, a genuine, hopeful smile finally gracing her lips as she looks forward to her future. 3 days after leaving the Stella household, the carriage journeys peacefully along a tree-lined road under a bright sky. As the beautiful castle comes into view, Anna smiles with relief. I finally arrived at the royal capital. Gaining her composure, Anna notes, waking up early in the morning is a habit from my days as a servant, as I used to get up before sunrise and start my duties earlier than anyone else. Anna takes a soft breath, thinking, it's been about 5 years since I last came to the capital. Finding no prospective suitors to marry, I haven't been able to come back since I left to work at my sister's estate. The carriage door opens, and the driver politely announces, Lady Anna, we have arrived at Prince Silvio Sirio's estate. Anna places her hand gently into the driver's gloved hand as she steps down from the carriage. Stepping outside, Anna gasps in awe, her eyes sparkling. She whispers, wow! She stands before a massive, ornate golden gate that leads to the breathtaking, majestic palace of the Crown Prince. The driver bows politely and bids her farewell, saying, well then, I will be taking my leave, leaving a breathless Anna to take in her grand new surroundings. Anna looks on in disbelief as the carriage rolls away, uttering a startled "ah" as she realizes her sudden predicament. Looking at her suitcase on the ground, Anna realizes with a shock, no matter how you look at it, I arrived way too early. She sighs in embarrassment, thinking to herself, no one is going to come out to greet me at this hour. Anna recalls her past connection with the prince, remembering, I only spoke with him once in the past, for a brief moment at a piano recital at the Noble Academy. She reminisces about that day at the Academy, where she sat playing a grand piano before a crowd of nobles. She reflects on the recital. I was 15 at the time, performing on stage while many in the audience seemed distracted. She recalls how the prince stood out, and he was just a young boy. My performance was nothing more than an opening act for my sisters, yet he listened to me with such innocent and earnest eyes. Back in the present, Anna muses, but I'm sure he doesn't remember. It was such a trivial encounter after all.
She decides to pass the time by exploring the estate grounds, thinking, maybe I should just take a walk around the area for now.
As she strolls through the quiet garden, she looks up at the sky and notes, the birds are starting to wake up now that it's morning. Hearing a racket from behind some bushes, Anna's sweat drops and thinks, that's a rather aggressive chirping though. Suddenly, a sharp, loud voice cries out, geez, what is it? Causing Anna's eyes to widen in surprise.
Curiously, Anna peeks over a dense green hedge to see what is causing the commotion.
She spots a maid frantically waving a broom, shouting, go away, as a swarm of small birds aggressively surrounds her. Anna watches with sympathy, thinking, doing that is only going to rile them up more. I've had a similar experience. Wanting to help, she wonders, what should I do? If only I could use some kind of magic right now. She reflects on her lack of magical abilities, noting, I, however, can barely use it at all. Suddenly, a clever non-magical solution comes to her mind, and she smiles. Oh, I know. Anna calls out loudly to the maid, shouting, over here, to draw the bird's attention. With a swift, gentle motion, she tosses some crumbs high into the air. The adorable little sparrows immediately divert their attention and happily fly after the food, tweeting with joy. Anna lets out a soft sigh of relief as the birds peacefully settle on the grass, contentedly pecking at the crumbs she scattered. The flustered maid runs up to thank her, but stops mid-sentence to stare in complete awe, gasping, oh my, what a beautiful lady.
A puzzled Anna sweat drops, wondering to herself, is she just flattering me because I saved her from that flock of birds? Noting the flags and decorations in the maid's bag, Anna silently wonders, those decorations, is there a party today? The maid enthusiastically explains, actually today is the day the Saintess will arrive to become the young master's, Prince Silvio's official wife. The maid continues, that's why we're putting up all these decorations. But then the birds started swarming the shiny objects. As the maid gushes, anyway, you really saved me. I don't know what I would have done without you. Anna sweat drops, realizing she hasn't realized that I'm the Saintess. Looking down with a bittersweet expression, Anna tells herself, and I suppose I don't blame her. She reflects on her attire, thinking, I wore the nicest dress I've owned since I was young. She looks at the fabric of her gown with a quiet sigh, realizing, but it's clearly worn out. Unaware of the lady's thoughts, the maid brightly declares, I'm sure the Saintess will be delighted with this. Touched by the warm preparation, Anna offers a sweet, genuine smile and replies, thank you so much. I'm very happy, seeing how warmly I am being welcomed. The maid blinks in confusion, tilting her head as she mutters, ha. Standing elegantly amidst a background of blooming blue flowers, Anna gently reveals her identity. I suppose I am the one they call the Saintess. The maid's jaw drops, her face turning pale with absolute shock as she shrieks, eh? A comical scream of ee echoes loudly across the magnificent sunny estate of the prince. Anna sits politely on a luxurious blue sofa inside a grand, beautifully decorated drawing room, with her blue gift box resting beside her. The flustered maid bows frantically, saying, please wait right here. The young master will be right with you. While Anna giggles softly, thinking, I'd actually prefer it if they treated me a bit more casually. Looking around at the opulent chandeliers and gold-trimmed decor, Anna reflects, I'm just not used to any of this. Suddenly, the double doors click open, and a tall man in a white royal uniform enters, saying, I apologize for keeping you waiting, Saintess. Walking in with an elegant, sparkling aura, the prince introduces himself. Or perhaps I should call you Lady Anna Lindell? I am Silvio, the first prince of the Sirio kingdom. Silvio smiles warmly at her, saying, I have been eagerly awaiting this day. It is a great pleasure to finally meet you. Looking closely at his face, Anna thinks in awe, Silvio Sirio. He always had handsome features, even back then. Captivated by his stunning appearance, she continues to admire him, thinking, but he is every bit as beautiful as the rumors say. Not even more so. He is so dazzling. Anna politely curtsies and replies, the honor is entirely mine. I am Anna Lindell, and before she can finish her introduction, a loud meow echoes through the room, drawing both of their attention to the floor. Silvio looks down apologetically and explains, I apologize. This is Mikey, my male cat, as the grumpy calico cat swishes his tail. Cradling the cat in his arms, Silvio explains, I found him weakened in the garden a little while ago. We've been taking care of him here ever since. Silvio invites her to sit, saying, he's just a bit timid. He ran away and I only just found him now. Please, have a seat. Do you like cats, Lady Anna? Smiling warmly, Anna replies, yes, I do like them. I used to find so much comfort in the stray cats that wandered into the garden, remembering her days as a servant when she would happily pet the stray cats. Suddenly, Anna panics internally, thinking, no, I'm a Saintess now. If I talk about my days as a servant, they'll question my dignity. Determined to change the subject, Anna quickly presents her blue package, saying, I brought this as a greeting gift. Silvio smiles warmly, accepting the present and saying, thank you very much, as Mikey the cat sneaks away behind the sofa. Silvio holds the blue present box in his hands and begins to lift the lid to see what is inside. Suddenly, the moment the lid is lifted, a brilliant and alarming flash of white light bursts from the box, causing Anna to shriek, eek! Wincing from the blinding glare, Silvio squeezes one eye shut and grunts in surprise. What in the world is this? The mysterious box continues to emit an intense, glowing, magical light that completely illuminates the drawing room, catching both Anna and Prince Silvio off guard. With a loud visual sound effect, the bright white light flares violently from the open package, startling Anna. Thick purple smoke begins to billow rapidly from the box, completely filling the opulent drawing room and obscuring everything in sight. Coughing and waving her hand to clear the air, a worried Anna thinks, smoke is coming from that box? The smoke is blinding. Squeezing his eyes shut, Prince Silvio coughs heavily into his hand as the thick purple smoke surrounds him. Panicking for the prince's safety, Anna turns toward him and cries out in alarm, Prince Silvio! Anna suddenly realizes the cruel truth. This is Melissa's doing. Do not open it until you hand it over. She was planning to humiliate me. Reaching out frantically through the haze, she screams, Prince Silvio!
Suddenly, the double doors are slammed open as a tall man with glasses and a black butler uniform rushes in, shouting in a panic, "Are you all right, Prince Silvio? Saintus?" Quickly assessing the situation, the butler runs to a large window and commands, "Open the windows immediately," to which a maid quickly responds, "Yes, sir." Stepping through the lingering haze as Silvio and Anna continue to cough, the butler asks with deep concern, "Are you two unharmed?" Silvio looks up with a reassuring, gentle smile and replies, "Yes, we're fine, Carlos." Carlos inspects the box and sighs with relief, noting it appears there is no poison or anything of the sort. However, Carlos turns a severe, piercing glare toward them and demands, "However, what is the meaning of this?" Terrified by his sharp gaze, Anna bows her head deeply in shame and stammers, "What on earth? I'm so incredibly sorry." Stepping forward to shield her, Prince Silvio smiles brightly and takes the blame, declaring, "I set it up." Anna looks up at him with wide, completely bewildered eyes, uttering a soft, confused "path," while the prince looks perfectly calm and dazzling. Staring at Silvio's serene face, Anna can only wonder in confusion. Why? As Silvio walks a few steps away, Anna's mind spirals with anxiety. Even if I am the Saintess, I'm an unmarried noblewoman past her prime, and we've practically just met. If someone like me were to put him in danger, it would be perfectly normal for him to be furious. Clutching her hands tightly against her chest, Anna worries it wouldn't be strange if he broke off our engagement right then and there. Carlos rubs his temple and sighs in utter exasperation, muttering, "Honestly, what am I going to do with you?" Carlos gestures dramatically at Anna, lecturing the prince, "The Saintess, your future wife." Silvio merely waves his hand with a casual chuckle and replies, "There's no need to get so angry." Carlos continues to scold him, saying, "You are so reliable in public, so are you under some kind of curse to act like a fool in private or something?" Silvio smiles dismissively, replying, "This is just who I am. Let me do as I please in my own home, at least." In chibi form, Silvio cheekily adds, "We're both perfectly safe, so what's the problem?" Making Carlos's veins pop in frustration as he retorts, "That's not the point," while Anna sweat drops in confusion. Looking around the room, Anna suddenly notices the empty floor and gasps in horror. Mikey is gone. Silvio gently places a comforting hand near her shoulder and reassures her. "It's all right. The sudden commotion must have startled him, so he's probably hiding. The same thing has happened before." Tears well up in Anna's eyes as she looks down, full of guilt. "But this is all my fault. It's all because of the gift I brought." Anna bows her head deeply in apology once again, crying, "I am so incredibly sorry." But Silvio simply smiles with sparkles around him and says, "Well now, whatever do you mean? Those cookies were absolutely delicious." Silvio winks and raises a comforting finger, telling her, "Please don't worry about it, Saintess Anna. I'm sure Mikey will turn up soon." Silvio places a finger elegantly to his lips, giving a charming, secret-keeping wink as beautiful blue flowers drift around his dazzling aura. Captivated by his stunning appearance, Anna stares in silent awe, her thoughts trailing off, but Anna envisions Silvio happily holding the beautiful calico cat and reflects, "I had only just found him after he ran away, and now he's gone again because of me." Looking deeply distressed, Anna realizes, depending on the owner, this is the kind of blunder that could get my head chopped off. She imagines a terrified Mikey running away, thinking, besides, if Mikey is as timid as they say, that must have truly terrified him. She looks toward the open double doors, worrying, it's even possible that he's run away from the estate entirely and wandered off somewhere else. Turning with a determined and resolute expression, Anna declares, "I'll go look for him right away." Anna dashes out of the drawing room in a hurry. A startled Silvio calls out after her, "Lady Anna," while Carlos watches her run off in complete shock. Anna sprints through the grand, sunlit corridors of the palace, shouting at the top of her lungs, "Mikey!" As she runs, Anna reflects on the situation with a heavy heart. I can't completely blame Melissa for this. It was my fault for not checking the contents of the box. Rushing up a wide, elegant staircase, she continues her frantic search, calling out, "That's why I have to find him. Mikey, where are you?" Anna searches high and low, checking behind pillars and under decorative pedestals, thinking, the one suffering the most right now from my sister's cruel prank isn't me, it's Mikey. He might be shivering somewhere all alone right now. Finally, she spots the frightened calico cat huddled under a table in the distance. Hurrying toward him, Anna calls out, "Mikey," while her mind resolves, I don't care what happens to me now. If they declare me disqualified as a saintess, so be it. I don't even care if I end up being sent back to Melissa. Clutching her hands tightly to her chest, she repeats, "But right now, I have to find Mikey." Suddenly, a mysterious warm blue light begins to glow brightly from her clasped hands. Anna's eyes widen in absolute shock as she gasps at the sudden warmth and light radiating from her body.
Looking down at her hands in complete disbelief, Anna stands enveloped in a brilliant, sparkling aura of holy starlight, whispering, "What is this? It's the same light from the Saintess' ceremony?" Anna holds her hands out as a warm, sparkling blue light begins to glow from them, while Mikey the calico cat lies curled up on the grass below, covered in a few leaves. Anna looks down at the cat in absolute shock, thinking to herself, "This is Mikey?" Standing in the hallway, Anna looks at her empty hands and thinks, "That place, it's near the garden that I visited this morning." Anna sweats nervously as she looks away, thinking, "I don't really understand what's happening." Glowing, magical blue-green light sparkles as Anna resolves, "But I need to go check." A view of the palace's elegant golden garden fence with decorative pillars. Anna walks quickly along the brick path inside the garden, looking around with concern. A close-up of Anna's eyes as she suddenly spots something in the distance and gasps. Finding Mikey the calico cat curled up on the grass under a wall, Anna thinks in relief, "He's actually here." Mikey looks grumpy and growls softly as he steps out from the bushes. Anna kneels down and gently offers her hand, smiling warmly as she says, "Come here, Mikey. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore." Looking at Anna's kind and smiling face, Mikey stares back at her with big, curious golden eyes. Mikey purrs and walks forward, happily rubbing his head against Anna's hand. Anna cradles the calico cat in her arms and smiles with deep relief, saying, "Thank goodness." Cradling Mikey close, Anna looks down thoughtfully, wondering, to begin with, magic shouldn't even be possible without an incantation. Surrounded by a brilliant, sparkling aura of holy starlight, Anna thinks in disbelief, "Did my Saintess Manna awaken in response to my prayer?" As Anna stands holding the cat, Prince Silvio's tall black boots and white uniform pants enter the frame in the foreground. Prince Silvio looks on in surprise, thinking to himself, "Could that be?" Anna's inner thoughts repeat in a starry oval frame. Was the saint's magic activated in response to my prayer? Anna holds Mikey close, looking up in surprise as the glowing starlight begins to fade away. Suddenly, Mikey lets out a soft meow in Anna's arms, drawing her attention. Prince Silvio steps onto the grass and says, "I'm surprised. Mikey usually doesn't show himself again once he's run off." Silvio walks up to her with a gentle smile, saying, "But it looks like he found you before I could." Anna gasps, "Your Highness." Standing before the prince, Anna holds Mikey close and says, "Since Mikey is safe." Prince Silvio reaches his hands out to politely take the calico cat back from Anna. However, Mikey fiercely hisses with glowing red eyes, refusing to let Silvio touch him while both of them look on in shock. Silvio scratches his cheek with a sheepish smile, saying, "To think he'd grow fond of you more than me in such a short time." Bowing her head in deep guilt, Anna holds Mikey and says, "Not only did I endanger your highness, but I also put Mikey at risk as well. I am deeply sorry." Prince Silvio waves his hand with a gentle, reassuring smile and replies, "I don't blame you in the least." Anna looks up at him, still feeling surprised and deeply moved by his forgiving nature. Looking at him with earnest eyes, Anna quietly asks, "Why did you protect me earlier?" Flashback to the drawing room filled with purple smoke, Anna thinks that smoke was undoubtedly caused by the gift I brought. Silvio gently pets Mikey on the head while Anna cradles him, asking, "That wasn't your fault, was it?" Looking warmly at her, Silvio asks, "Someone else made you bring that, didn't they?" Anna's eyes widen in absolute shock as she asks, "Huh? How could you tell?" While Silvio replies, "I can tell by looking at your clothes." Pointing out her modest blue dress, Silvio explains, "Compared to that worn-out dress and your other belongings, that gift was the only thing that looked strangely brand new." Feeling deeply exposed, Anna looks away with a sweat drop and thinks, he's not wrong. Silvio gestures with his hand, explaining, "Also, I heard you helped my maid this morning. I cannot possibly believe such a kind-hearted person would do such a thing." Smiling beautifully as rose petals drift around them, Silvio says, "There are no bad people among those whom Mikey takes a liking to." Captivated by his beautiful, gentle expression, Anna thinks in awe, what a dazzling smile. Surrounded by beautiful blue roses, Prince Silvio smiles warmly, prompting Anna to think, it's not just his appearance, surely his heart itself is beautiful. Chibi Silvio adds, "If that's the case, then I, whom he hasn't taken a liking to, must be a villain." In a pink patterned background, Chibi Anna quickly waves her hand and exclaims, "That's not true," while Silvio's serious voice continues, "But since I'm planning to severely punish the person who planned this evil deed immediately," Silvio looks at her seriously and asks, "By the way, do you have an idea of who the culprit is?" Anna stammers, Looking downcast, Anna reluctantly replies, "Well, it is likely my younger sister, Melissa." Silvio rests his hand on his chin in thought and says, I feel like we were classmates at the aristocratic school. Silvio adds, then it is mostly likely due to her jealousy toward you. Anna thinks in utter shock, jealousy? Melissa's jealous towards me?
Flashback to Melissa and her classmate in the background, Silvio says, she might have been envious of you, who will become the future queen. I've always disliked her ill will and cunning, but to think it went this far? Silvio clenches his fist tightly, his tone turning dark and sharp as he declares, in any case, she held malice toward my fiancé, and on top of that, she caused harm. Silvio looks down with a cold, terrifying aura and glowing blue eyes, declaring, suspension? No, it might be fine to give her an even heavier crime. Looking down with a subtle, complicated smirk, Anna processes his protective and vengeful words. Anna bursts out laughing with a bright ah-ha-ha while cradling the calico cat Mikey, leaving Prince Silvio looking slightly startled and amused by her sudden laughter. Giggling softly as Mikey cuddles against her hand, Anna smiles warmly and says, no, it's not that, but Prince Silvio looks at Anna with a gentle, curious expression, thinking to himself, Lady Anna? But she is completely different from the rumors. Cradling Mikey close to her chest, Anna feels a wave of relief wash over her as she thinks, it's strange, my heart feels lighter now. I don't know why, but I suddenly feel so much better. Suddenly, Prince Silvio gracefully kneels down on one knee on the grassy lawn before Anna, catching her completely off guard. Looking at the kneeling prince in embarrassment, Anna sweats nervously and stammers, your clothes will get dirty. Against a backdrop of beautiful blooming flowers, Prince Silvio gently takes Anna's hand into his as he remains knelt before her, gazing up with an affectionate smile. Anna looks down in wide-eyed shock as Prince Silvio closes his eyes and tenderly kisses the back of her hand amidst a flurry of white roses. Under the warm sunlight filtering through the garden trees, the prince continues to kneel before Anna, holding her hand in a romantic, serene moment. A view of the grand palace corridor, lined with elegant arching windows and illuminated by magnificent crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. As they walk down the corridor together, Silvio asks, by the way, do you remember? While Anna thinks of the maid happily taking Mikey away to feed him, noting it is Mike's mealtime. Silvio turns to Anna with a gentle smile and asks, that we met at a concert long ago? Anna looks at him in surprise, asking, wait, you remembered? To which Silvio replies softly, of course. Silvio looks back at her warmly and explains, at that time, your warm performance resonated with my heart more than anyone else's. I couldn't forget it for a while. In a beautiful rose-filled flashback, Anna is seen playing a grand piano with absolute grace as Silvio reflects, and the fact that you were more beautiful than anyone else. Blushing and looking down in utter disbelief, Anna processes his words, thinking, beautiful? Me? Clinging to her doubts, Anna asks, are you sure you aren't confusing me with Melissa? But Silvio walks confidently forward, his boots clicking on the floor as he replies, no, it is undoubtedly you. Turning to her with a bright, charming smile, Silvio adds, besides, you are as beautiful now as you were then. Blushing deeply, Anna looks away shyly as Silvio gently assures her, it is not flattery. Looking at her with profound sincerity in the sunlit corridor, Silvio confesses, I've thought all along that I wanted to meet you again. Seen through a window framed by green foliage, Silvio continues, I was always curious about how you were doing, but to think you would become my fiancé? Surrounded by a beautiful aura of blooming flowers, Silvio holds a hand to his chest and looks at her with absolute devotion, declaring, if it is to you, I want to give my everything. This makes Anna's heart pound loudly as she stares at him in a daze. Feeling her heart beat frantically, Anna clenches her hands tightly and thinks, my heart is racing and it's frustrating. This might be the first time I've felt this way. Anna reflects on her past as she pictures herself leaving her old home with a single suitcase. Until I came here, I never thought I would be loved by anyone. This marriage was just something following regulations. Nothing more, nothing less. In a dark, unpleasant flashback, Melissa points a finger with a malicious, mocking smirk, sneering, this is obviously just a loveless political marriage anyway. There's no way you'll ever be loved. Anna recalls, I thought it was just as Melissa said. Standing alone under a spotlight in a dark void, holding her suitcase, Anna thinks, but now it's a little different. A hand reaches out toward a brilliant, warm light as Anna's inner monologue continues, even for me, who has always been a leftover, it might be okay for me to seize happiness. There might be no such thing as a spring that comes too late in this world. Surrounded by beautiful purple roses, Silvio gently lifts Anna's chin with his fingers, looking deeply into her eyes as her heart beats wildly, prompting her to wonder, I wonder if it's okay to hope for that. The morning sun shines brightly over the grand and majestic palace facade, with green leaves framing the peaceful scene. Inside a spacious and lavishly decorated dining hall, Anna sits quietly and alone at the end of a very long table. Suddenly, the large, ornate double doors of the dining room click and begin to swing open. Standing up from her chair, Anna gracefully curtsies and greets, "Good morning." Prince Silvio steps into the room dressed in a pristine white and blue uniform, smiling as he replies, "Good morning, Lady Anna. It seems you've been waiting for quite a while." Blushing and waving her hands frantically in embarrassment, Anna stammers, "My apologies. It's not like I was excited about the food or anything." Silvio smiles warmly and chuckles. "No, I don't mind at all. I was looking forward to this as well." Sitting across from each other at the massive dining table, the two begin their morning together as Anna quietly replies, "I see." Looking down with a soft blush, Anna thinks to herself, "The prince really is kind." A wide, majestic view of Prince Silvio's massive estate is shown, with the narration, "Several days have passed since I began staying at Prince Silvio's estate, even though I was now allowed to live in such a wonderful mansion." Sitting alone in a grand high-backed chair, Anna's back is turned as her inner thoughts continue. "My body still hadn't adjusted to life here." A close-up of Anna's troubled face as she reflects, "Even this morning." A close-up of Anna's purple eye suddenly popping open as she wakes up in the dim light of dawn. Sitting up in her dark, quiet bed, Anna tiredly holds her head and thinks, "That dream again." Comedic panels illustrate Chibi Anna performing relentless chores, with the text describing nightmares from my days as a servant, cleaning, planning menus, hiring staff, etc., as she tosses and turns in bed, sighing, "It never ends." Having worked under Melissa for many years, standing by the window in the dark early morning, Anna looks out and thinks, "No matter how late I go to sleep, I still wake before sunrise. I want to do something to distract myself, but..." Anna imagines herself happily cleaning alongside the mansion's maids, but quickly sweats nervously at the thought, realizing, "If I mixed in with the maids and started cleaning, what would people think of me?" As expected, that would definitely be bad. I tried thinking of all sorts of things to do, but comedic panels show Anna sitting bored at the empty table, with the narration, "In the end, I spent over 30 minutes here doing absolutely nothing, and that's how things ended up where they are now." Back in the present, Anna sighs heavily, prompting Silvio to ask with concern, "Lady Anna, are you all right?" Quickly snapping out of her daze, Anna smiles and assures him, "Yes, I'm perfectly fine." Silvio looks at her with a gentle smile and asks, "You must be hungry, right?" Silvio smiles as he adds, "Breakfast should be arriving shortly," while Chibi Anna sweats nervously as her stomach lets out a loud rumble. The double doors open with a click as the smiling head maid enters pushing a serving cart, saying, "Excuse us." A luxurious and glittering breakfast spread is wheeled in, featuring warm pretzel bread, meatballs, soup, and fresh salad, as the maid announces, "We've brought breakfast." Looking at the table spread before her, Anna sweats nervously and thinks to herself, namely, this extravagant feast. Looking at the nervous Anna, Prince Silvio smiles brightly and says, "Every breakfast served in this house is truly delicious." Meanwhile, Anna can only think in disbelief, "This is unbelievably luxurious." Highlighting the prince's words, a proud illustration of a chef with freshly baked bread appears alongside exquisite ham and cheeses, with the prince enthusiastically suggesting she try them all. Forcing a bright smile to match his enthusiasm, Anna picks up her knife and fork, replying, "I see. Then thank you for the meal." She notes to herself how impossible it is to refuse when urged so warmly by the prince. Prince Silvio stands surrounded by a beautiful, glowing aura of orange roses, smiling warmly as Anna feels completely overwhelmed by his kindness. Sitting at opposite ends of the long table filled with an abundance of food, Silvio asks with a gentle smile, "Lady Anna, does it suit your tastes?" And Anna quickly replies, "Yes, it's absolutely delicious." Chibi Silvio smiles cheerfully as he says, "I'm glad to hear that. We prepared plenty, so please don't hold back." Looking down at her plate, Anna sweats nervously and tells herself, "He went through all the trouble of preparing this, so I have to eat it." The prince holds out a glittering plate, asking, "Would you like to try some of these homemade sausages as well?" Causing Anna to stare in shock with a startled gasp. Smiling warmly, Silvio gestures to the maid and says, "Another serving of bread for Lady Anna," as the maid happily approaches with a large basket of bread while Anna stammers out, "Thank you very much." Anna's face goes pale with shock, her eyes widening in sheer panic as she realizes the sheer amount of food she is being expected to consume. Sweat dropping in chibi form, Anna desperately thinks, I can't possibly eat this much. My stomach's gonna burst. While the smiling maid eagerly offers her more bread, saying, Please, Saintess. Shoving another bite of food into her mouth, Anna sweats nervously and tries to power through, thinking, even so, I can't just not eat it. Suddenly, a wave of intense nausea hits Anna, forcing her to gasp and desperately cover her mouth with her hand as she struggles to hold it down. Prince Silvio stands up in utter shock, calling out Lady Anna, as Anna looks down in deep shame, tearfully thinking, Prince Silvio, I'm sorry. Someone like me really is unworthy of being anything more than a leftover after all. Wrapped in a somber purple light, Anna sits completely dejected and alone in a grand chair, feeling utterly worthless. Under the soft morning light filtering through the window, Anna lies peacefully asleep in her bed, recovering from the ordeal. Anna's purple eyes slowly open in the dim light of her bedroom as she blankly wonders, where am I? Looking down at her with a deeply worried and anxious expression, Prince Silvio calls out in relief, You've awakened! Startled, Anna quickly sits up in bed, crying out, Prince Silvio, and immediately bows her head, stammering, I'm terribly sorry. Before she can finish her apology, Silvio gently grabs both of her hands in his, catching her completely off guard. Gazing into her eyes with profound remorse, Silvio softly says, I'm sorry, Lady Anna. Looking deeply saddened, the prince confesses, I was just so happy to share a meal with you. I ended up forcing you beyond your limits. Silvio looks down apologetically and explains, the doctor told me that suddenly increasing the amount one eats can put a strain on the stomach. Clutching her chest in embarrassment, Anna quickly speaks up to comfort him, saying, But I was the one who pushed myself too hard. Smiling gently to soothe her worries, Silvio reassures her, It's all right, Lady Anna. I'm simply relieved that you've woken up safely. Silvio looks at her with intense concern and asks, By the way, are you feeling any pain anywhere? Did you hit your head, perhaps? Any nausea? Anna recalls Silvio's gentle smile in her mind, her heart sinking as she reflects, I rejected Prince Silvio's kindness. Sweating nervously, Silvio looks at her in surprise and calls out, Lady Anna? With tears streaming down her blushing cheeks, Anna gazes at him in deep gratitude as she realizes how incredibly gentle he is to her. Seeing her tears, Silvio panics and asks with deep worry, Are you truly sure nothing hurts? While Anna quickly wipes her eyes and replies, No, that's not it. Offering him a warm, tearful smile, Anna gently assures the worried prince, I'm really all right. Silvio's gentle hand reaches out to tenderly wipe away the tears from Anna's cheek, catching her completely by surprise as she stares at him in a daze. Looking at the incredibly handsome and devoted prince, Anna's heart swells with a warm feeling as she thinks, if possible, I want to know more about him. Against the beautiful backdrop of blooming yellow roses, Silvio gently cradles Anna's face in his hand, saying softly, There's just one thing. The romantic moment lingers as Silvio continues to hold her face gently, gazing deeply into her eyes amidst the beautiful flowers. Snapping out of the moment, Prince Silvio blinks in surprise and calls out with concern, Lady Anna? Anna looks at him with a beautiful, bright smile, her hand resting over her chest as she prepares to answer him. Prince Silvio's eyes widen slightly in surprise, a soft blush appearing on his cheeks as he gazes at her radiant smile. Silvio looks at her with a gentle, curious expression and asks, Lady Anna, what do you mean by, as a soft knock sounds at the door. Hearing the knock, the prince turns his head toward the door and calls out, Come in! The door swings open with a click as the two maids rush in, bow their heads, and cry out in deep panic, Pardon the intrusion, Lady Anna, we are so sorry about earlier. Crying and clutching their chests, the maids frantically explain, We got a little too excited and ended up causing all that. We just wanted you to eat your fill, Lady Anna. To which a startled Anna quickly waves her hands and assures them, No, please don't worry about it. Smiling warmly, Anna gently reassures them, Just the thought alone makes me very happy. I should be the one apologizing for causing you to worry. Deeply moved by her kindness, the two maids gaze at Anna with glittering, teary eyes and cry out in chibi form, Lady Anna! Eager to make it up to her, the maids lean in close with sparkling stars around them and enthusiastically ask, Lady Anna, do you have any favorite foods or any foods you dislike? The maids continue to press her, saying, Please let us know so we can use it as a reference for the future, as Anna sweats nervously and replies, I don't really have any foods I dislike, but I used to eat a lot of root vegetables and bread. The morning sun shines brightly over the grand and majestic palace facade, framing a beautiful new day. Walking down the elegant palace corridor, Anna confidently steps forward, thinking to herself, I need to make sure I don't repeat yesterday's mistake.
Entering the dining room with a polite smile, Anna resolves, "That's why I arrived exactly 5 minutes before breakfast time today. As long as I eat a moderate amount for breakfast, I'll be fine." As a caption points out, she was the one who arrived way too early yesterday.
Sitting at the table, Prince Silvio looks up from reading his newspaper, surprised and delighted to see her arrive as he greets her with a bright smile.
Entering the dining room, Anna politely greets him. "Good morning, Prince Silvio." She notices him standing by his chair and wonders in surprise. "He's here early today?" Prince Silvio smiles warmly and pulls out her chair, offering graciously, "Please, Lady Anna, have a seat." Under the beautiful morning light, Anna sits down with a soft blush and replies, "Thank you." Suddenly, the dining room doors open as the maids push the serving carts in, bowing politely as they say, "Pardon the intrusion." Anna looks at the cart in confusion, her eyes widening as she mutters, "Huh?" Staring down at the table, Anna is taken aback by the moderate layout before her, thinking, "This is..."
One of the maids smiles and explains, "We have changed the breakfast menu based on your preferences, Lady Anna. We've prepared a menu that takes your health into consideration." The other maid happily chimes in, "Cheese and meat can be heavy on the stomach, so we've focused mainly on vegetables. We decided on this after consulting with the prince." Caught off guard by their thoughtfulness, Anna stammers, and Silvio looks over from across the table, apologetically saying, "I apologize if this was unnecessary, Lady Anna." Silvio looks down softly and continues, "However, it seems that you haven't been eating properly for quite some time." Silvio explains, "I believe it's important to get your body used to eating again first." Looking at his concerned expression, Anna can't help but think, "Prince Silvio, it's true that my diet up until now has been incredibly frugal." She remembers her difficult past, reflecting, "The only luxury I had were the sweets Retario would occasionally give me. The thought of wasting such delicious-looking food and ingredients, or the act of leaving leftovers, makes my heart ache. But on the other hand..." Lost in her somber memories, Anna looks down dejectedly as she recalls, "My body simply couldn't handle it anymore." She sighs softly, trying to push the thoughts aside, and tells herself, "But that's just my problem." Across the grand, sunlit dining room, Prince Silvio sits quietly and looks at her with an incredibly gentle and supportive gaze. Silvio speaks up with a warm smile. "Every breakfast served in this house is truly delicious, you know." Feeling a bit guilty, Anna looks down at her hands and worries, "I'm sure he must prefer his usual breakfast." Looking up at the prince, Anna asks with concern, "Don't you have official duties at the castle after this?" Prince Silvio chuckles and reassures her, "I actually snack quite a bit between meals anyway." Sensing his deep kindness, Anna looks at him with a soft, pleading expression and says, "Please don't force yourself." Taken aback by her words, the prince blinks in mild surprise and repeats, "Force myself?" Bowing her head slightly, Anna admits with a nervous blush, "I mean, I thought you were forcing yourself to match my dietary needs." Staring down at her plate, Anna tearfully adds, "All because I said I wanted to continue having breakfast with you. I'm sorry." But the prince quickly replies, "That's not it at all, Lady Anna." Looking at her with absolute sincerity, Silvio smiles and explains, "If we are sitting at the same table rather than eating different things, I believe the food tastes much better when we share the same meal. I simply did it because that's what I wanted." Silvio's eyes shine with warmth as he gently reassures her, "So there's no need for you to apologize." Picking up his utensils, Prince Silvio brightly suggests, "Now then, let's eat before it gets cold." Watching him, Anna is deeply moved, reflecting, "He said that to me back then," but as she recalls the moment he kneeled before her and held her hand while she cradled a small cat, Anna's cheeks flush a deep pink as she gazes at him, completely captivated by his overwhelming kindness. Against a beautiful backdrop of blooming white roses, Silvio sits before her as she thinks to herself, "If anyone is kind, it is undoubtedly the prince." Smiling brightly, Anna admires his radiant presence, thinking, "Moreover, he is young, humble, and considerate. He's too good for this world." Shifting to a cheerful chibi form, Silvio smiles across the table and asks, "Lady Anna, did you find any dishes to your liking?" While a startled Anna replies, Pointing to her bowl, Anna happily shares, "I particularly like this creamed spinach." Delighted to hear this, Silvio beams and says, "I quite like that one as well. Shall I ask them to serve it again tomorrow?" Surrounded by an elegant garden of blooming white roses, Anna clasps her hands together and lets out a radiant, joyful laugh. Seeing her pure and honest happiness, Prince Silvio gazes at her in absolute awe, a soft blush spreading across his cheeks. With a gentle, admiring smile, Silvio says softly, "I finally get to see you smile." Startled by his tender words, Anna raises a hand to her burning cheek, her eyes widening as she blushes intensely. Looking at him with a tender smile, Anna's heart swells as she reflects, sitting around a table with someone like this, sharing our thoughts on the meal, it was unimaginable to me until just recently. She recalls her lonely past, sitting in a dark room under the dim candlelight, thinking, just stuffing my stomach alone with the bare minimum of food I was given. I doubt you could even call that a proper meal. Silvio's warm and radiant smile fills her vision, washing away the cold shadows of her past. Looking across the long, beautifully set table, Anna feels a deep sense of peace, thinking, such a trivial thing. Thanks to him, I was able to realize just how much happiness it brings. Later that day, the sun shines brightly over the grand and majestic mansion, bringing a quiet afternoon. Sitting alone in a beautifully lit drawing room, Anna quietly sips her tea as the soft light filters through the window. Sighing softly, Anna rests her cheek on her hand and thinks to herself in boredom, I have too much free time. She sweats nervously as she recalls her past as a hard-working maid, thinking, I've spent so much time as a servant that this kind of elegant lifestyle feels unsettling. During tea time, I was always in charge of cleaning up. Looking out the window at the lush green garden, Anna rests her chin on her hand and wonders, from what I heard this morning, it doesn't seem like there's nothing to do around, though. She recalls the prince's explanation from earlier at the dining table. The wedding ceremony will take place in 1 month. Silvio had explained, before that, I had intended to introduce you to my father and mother, the king and queen. He then looked down somberly as a vision of the bedridden king appeared, adding, however, His Majesty's health has apparently worsened, so it has been postponed. Anna recalls him saying, therefore, for the time being, I would like you to focus on preparations for the engagement ceremony, and also on training as a saintess. This leaves her feeling slightly anxious as she repeats, training as a saintess. But Silvio had offered a reassuring smile, saying, there's no need to worry. For now, your top priority should be getting used to life in this mansion. Back in the present, Anna rests her chin in her hand, thinking with deep concern, I'm worried about His Majesty's health too, but what exactly does saintess training involve? Stepping forward with a determined look, Anna resolves, I should really do something to distract myself. Maybe I'll organize some books. Anna walks over to the towering bookshelves in the study, carefully sliding a book out and flipping through its pages. Looking closely at the page of the book she just pulled out, Anna's purple eyes widen in surprise as she thinks, oh, this is... Flipping through the pages, she discovers ancient records about the previous saintess, which read, using a special kind of magic power, the saintess could instantly revive withered plants and even make objects float in the air. Pointing at the text on the page, Anna's heart skips a beat as she realizes it even includes the chant. Looking at her hands with a soft glow, Anna reflects with a mix of wonder and concern, the special magical power of a saintess resides within me too. She recalls her recent encounter, kneeling down gently to pet the small calico cat as she thinks, I realized that when I managed to locate Mikey the other day. Holding the book tightly against her chest, Anna looks down somberly, wondering to herself, but that was the only time I've ever managed to use the power. Was it just a coincidence? Staring at her open palm as a soft, magical light sparkles around her fingers, Anna contemplates, maybe if I use the chant, I can control it with my own will? Her eyes narrow with a mix of nervousness and hesitation, thinking, I want to try it, but... She remembers Prince Silvio's warm and incredibly gentle smile as he advised her, for now, prioritize getting used to life in this mansion. Sliding the book back onto the shelf, Anna decides to hold back, thinking, I don't want to cause trouble again by using magic recklessly. Stepping out of the study, Anna politely informs a passing maid, I'm going to take a little look around the mansion. I'll be back. Sunlight streams beautifully through the large, arched windows of the grand, quiet palace corridor. Walking down the empty hallway, Anna suddenly stops, her attention drawn by the sound of muffled voices around the corner. She overhears 2 maids whispering in deep distress. Is this beyond saving now? If it's torn this badly, we don't even have enough people to redo the stitching, leaving Anna to wonder what happened. Stepping forward, Anna politely asks, did something happen? Causing the 2 startled maids to turn around in shock and gasp, Lady Anna? Panicking in chibi form, one maid asks, why are you in a place like this? As Chibiana sweat drops and replies, I thought I'd take a little walk around the mansion. Peeking at the fabric they're desperately hiding, Anna asks, by the way, could that possibly be... Looking at the torn white coat in their hands, Anna's eyes widen as she whispers, Prince Silvio's? Hanging their heads in shame and worry, the maids admit, Yes, actually, while we were taking in the laundry, it got caught on a branch.
Silvio is shown wearing his favorite white and blue jacket as the maid explains, the young master treats his clothing with great care and wears them many times. This jacket in particular is something he treasures deeply.
The maids look completely devastated, crying, and yet because of our mistake, it ended up like this. As Anna looks at the coat and says softly, I see.
Reflecting on high society, Anna thinks nobles above a certain rank usually use these kinds of formal clothes, almost as disposable items, to display their authority and wealth. Wearing the same clothes continuously only happens in special circumstances like mine.
Looking thoughtful, Anna reflects, and yet Prince Silvio, the future king, wears the same clothes repeatedly. He must really treasure them. As the maid hesitantly says, this really isn't something Lady Anna should concern herself with. Anna reaches out her hand and asks with a gentle smile, would you mind if I borrowed that?
Reassuring them with a radiant, confident smile, Anna prepares to put her skills to use to resolve their problem.
Waving her hands in a panic, the maids exclaim, this is our responsibility. If you were to injure yourself, we'd never be able to face the young master. Anna smiles reassuringly and replies, then there's no need to worry. Taking the jacket, Anna begins stitching it with lightning-fast, flawless movements, leaving the watching maids completely awestruck as they think, so fast, and such incredible skill, too. Holding up the perfectly mended jacket, the maids gasp in amazement. You've stitched it so beautifully. Is this also the power of a saintess? While Chibi Anna waves her hands frantically and replies, no, not at all. It's nothing special. Anna recalls her grueling past, thinking, my skills probably improved naturally while handling all sorts of tasks as a servant, remembering being ordered to fix all of these by tomorrow, alongside a sweet memory of a little boy hugging a handmade rabbit doll and saying, you made this for me? Thank you. Looking eager to keep busy, Anna cheerfully asks, if you'd like, perhaps I could help with some of the other work as well. The maids quickly decline, saying, no, we couldn't possibly trouble you any further. Even if we are short-handed, we could never ask such a thing of you. When suddenly another maid opens the door in distress, stammering, pardon me for interrupting, but... Hearing the interruption, Anna looks up with a startled expression, wondering what could be wrong. A trail of messy, muddy paw prints covers the pristine hallway floor alongside a knocked-over vase of flowers, courtesy of a mischievous pack of cats roaming around. Now wearing a classic maid uniform, Anna holds a broom as the panicked maid sweat drops and explains, the cats inside the mansion are responsible. They occasionally make a mess like this. Pointing up at the stairs, the maid continues, the young master is extremely tolerant toward cats, so he would never blame us over something like this, but bowing deeply in apology, the maid says tearfully, to think we're making Lady Anna help us with this? We're truly sorry. But Anna warmly reassures her, no, not at all. I was honestly getting restless from having too much free time. Smiling brightly, Anna adds with absolute sincerity, I'm simply happy if I can be of help to everyone. Deeply touched by her kindness, the maid clasps her hands together and cries out in gratitude, thank you so very much. As the maid sweeps the stairs, she kindly suggests, also, there's no need to use formal speech with us, to which Anna sweat drops and replies, yes, though it's almost become a habit. Suddenly, the maid loses her footing on a wet spot on the stairs and lets out a panicked cry, Kya, as a startled Anna turns around. Falling backward down the grand staircase, the maid slips as Anna reaches out her arm in a panic and screams, watch out! In that split second of danger, Anna's eyes widen as she remembers the spell from the ancient book, O God who resides in the heavens above. Reaching her hands forward with intense focus, Anna recites the chant aloud, O God who resides in the heavens above, grant this hand the power of levitation. A brilliant, warm light bursts from Anna's outstretched hands, illuminating the entire hall as her magic activates. Enveloped in a gentle, swirling aura of magical light, the falling maid gasps in absolute shock, crying out, Wah! The maid floats safely in midair, suspended by the gentle power of Anna's levitation spell as the fall is completely halted. Falling to her knees in exhaustion, Anna looks at her hands in disbelief, sighing in relief as she thinks, it worked. The maids crowd around her with glittering eyes, cheering enthusiastically. Lady Anna! So this is the Saintess's power? Amazing! Thank you very much, Lady Anna! Looking at them with a gentle, humble smile and a drop of nervous sweat, Anna replies, no, I'm just glad you're safe. As Anna collapses from physical exhaustion, the maids panically call out, Lady Anna? Reflecting on her newly awakened power, Anna realizes, that's right, this magic power must be prayer itself. The stronger my wish is, the stronger the magic becomes in response. Lying in a luxurious bed under a warm blanket, Anna slowly begins to regain consciousness, murmuring softly,
As Anna opens her eyes, a calm and elegant voice greets her, saying, "You've awakened." Anna looks up in surprise at the sharp-looking, dark-haired man standing by her bedside, wondering, "You are?" Exhaling a soft sigh of relief, the man says, "I'm relieved to see you are unharmed. If anything were to happen to you, it would be a disaster." Staring up at him, a realization flashes in Anna's purple eyes as she thinks, "I believe this person is—" Anna recalls Prince Silvio's previous description of Carlos Popolo, his trusted confidant and caretaker since childhood, who is also the same age as her. Carlos looks down at Anna with a serious expression and asks, "I heard you collapsed suddenly. How are you feeling?" Lying weakly, Anna feels completely drained, thinking, "I wonder why. My body feels so heavy." Carlos points toward the foot of the bed and asks, "Isn't that because of him?" prompting a confused from Anna. A cute, plump calico cat named Mikey lies contentedly nearby, looking completely relaxed. Spotting the feline, Anna smiles warmly and pets him, saying, "Oh, it was just you." Anna suddenly remembers the accident and asks in a panic, "More importantly, is the maid who fell all right? Or rather, what time is it?" To which Carlos calmly replies, "It is currently evening and the maid is safe." Carlos explains how he came to watch over her. "She was here just a moment ago, but she had other duties to attend to, so I took her place." Relieved, Anna smiles and says, "Is that so? Thank goodness." But Carlos instantly corrects her in a stern tone, saying, "It is not thank goodness." Carlos lectures her strictly, saying, "You are the saintess now after all. Please refrain from taking such reckless actions dressed like that." Looking down at her clothes in absolute shock, Anna gasps, "Oh no, I'm still wearing a maid's uniform." In chibi form, a dejected Anna apologizes, "I will be more careful from now on." To which Carlos sighs and responds, "I believe that would be for the best." Carlos continues his stern lecture, saying, "Imitating a servant is out of the question, of course, but I must also ask that you stop using your mana so recklessly. Listen well, Lady Anna." Carlos relentlessly nags her about her duties as a saintess, saying, "From now on, the saintess must become a figure of admiration for the people, a symbol they can look up to. I do not know the circumstances of your time in the Richtel household, nor the reasons why you remained unmarried until this age." As Carlos continues to nag, Anna sweat drops and thinks to herself, "Come to think of it, he used to lecture Prince Silvio just like this." Suddenly, the heavy bedroom doors are thrown open with a loud crash, causing both Anna and Mikey to shriek in surprise as the startled cat leaps away. Carlos turns toward the doorway, calmly noting, "You have returned remarkably early." Prince Silvio stands in the doorway, panting with exertion and sweat dropping as he apologizes. "I feel terrible for scaring Mikey." Anna gasps in astonishment as the prince approaches her bed, whispering, "Prince Silvio?" In chibi form, Prince Silvio hovers closely over Anna's bed, examining her from all sides with intense worry while she sweat drops in confusion. Exhausted, Prince Silvio slumps over the edge of the bed with a heavy sigh, prompting Anna to ask in surprise, "What happened to you?" Looking up at her with a gentle, flushed smile, Silvio confesses, "I was worried whether you were safe, Lady Anna, but seeing you now, it seems you are perfectly fine." Flustered by his deep concern, Anna blushes and asks softly, "Yes, how did you know?" With Carlos standing respectfully in the background, Silvio explains, "Carlos sent a messenger for me. I rushed back as soon as I heard what happened." Looking at his formal royal attire, Anna asks in concern, "But your appearance, weren't you in the middle of your official duties?" Silvio reassures her with a gentle smile, saying, "Please don't worry about that. I wrapped things up immediately after hearing the news. I didn't even want to spare the time to change." Staring at the sweat dripping from his brow, Anna realizes how frantically he rushed to her side, thinking he's sweating. Watching him talk with Carlos, Anna's heart flutters as she thinks, "It looks like he literally ran all the way back here for me. Why would Prince Silvio go to such lengths?" Anna looks at Silvio in profile, reflecting on their relationship. Even if we are to be married, it's not as if love has blossomed between us yet. She gazes downward thoughtfully, questioning, "Is it simply because he thinks I'm kind? Is that really enough for him to care this much about me?" Anna resolves to say something, thinking, "I need to apologize for causing him trouble once again." And yet, Silvio turns to her with a warm, welcoming smile and asks, "What is it, Lady Anna?" Anna nervously clutches the bedsheets, her fingers tightening as she stammers, Looking up at him from her bed, Anna says softly, "Thank you for worrying about me." With a radiant smile and a soft blush, Anna confesses, "I was really happy that you rushed back for me." Hearing her words, Silvio's eyes widen slightly in surprise, his cheeks flushing with a soft blush. Breaking into a warm, joyful smile, Silvio replies gently, "Hearing you say that makes the run entirely worth it.
Feeling a deep sense of happiness, Anna reflects, it's true, I really was happy. To have someone worry about me like this? Looking out at the quiet, starry night sky through her bedroom window, she continues, even if there were no special feelings behind it. Silvio sits comfortably on the edge of the bed and says, come to think of it, Carlos told me you used your mana and that you even stepped in to help the maids and saved one of them. Anna looks down guiltily and promises, but I promise I won't use my mana so recklessly anymore, and I'll avoid stepping in to help unprompted. Silvio interrupts her with a gentle, reassuring smile, saying, I don't mind at all. You may do exactly as you please, Lady Anna. Anna's eyes widen in surprise as Silvio adds warmly, in fact, I should be thanking you for lending a hand. Prince Silvio smiles gently and says, the servants seem truly grateful for your help too. Carlos reacts with shock and says, my prince, what are you saying? While Anna panics in bed, agreeing, he's right, I might end up causing you trouble again. Looking at her tenderly, Prince Silvio replies, if that happens, I'll simply rush to your side again, just like today. You are welcome to cause me as much trouble as you like. Prince Silvio continues with a warm smile. Just try not to push yourself to the point of collapsing, please. Is that acceptable to you, Carlos? Carlos looks incredibly exasperated and sighs, saying, you wouldn't listen even if I tried to stop you anyway, to which Prince Silvio replies cheerfully, then it's settled. Hearing their exchange, Anna clutches her chest in surprise as she realizes how deeply they care. Prince Silvio gently places his hand over Anna's hand on the bed and says, Lady Anna, you should relax a little and act however you please. With white roses blooming behind him, Silvio smiles brilliantly and says, after all, this is your home now too. Deeply moved by his kindness, Anna blushes and smiles softly, replying, okay, as they sit hand in hand. Prince Silvio stands up and says, I'll go get changed then. We shall meet later at dinner. Walking out of the room, Silvio calls out, let's go, Carlos, to which Carlos bows politely and responds, as you wish. Carlos stops at the doorway and glances back at Anna with a thoughtful expression, while Anna remains in bed, looking happy and content. Silvio and Carlos walk side by side down the long, elegant corridors of the moonlit palace. Carlos breaks the silence, telling Silvio, you go too easy on her, as Silvio reflects on how Carlos has been his dedicated caretaker since childhood. In a warm flashback, a young Carlos holds a smiling young Silvio's hand, who remembers he speaks his mind without holding back, and I don't reprimand him for it. Silvio recalls how Carlos has been nagging him for nearly 20 years, like the time he scolded him for bringing home a stray kitten, and notes that while Carlos is usually right, he cannot agree this time. Back in the present, Silvio walks ahead of Carlos with a serious look, thinking to himself, this time I can't do as he says. Turning slightly, Prince Silvio firmly says, no, it is fine the way it is. Carlos looks confused and asks, why is that? I can't make sense of this. Carlos continues to argue, making the Saintess do maid-like work is one thing, but what if she actually collapses after being allowed to use her magic? Walking down the hall, Silvio calmly responds, I'm sure Lady Anna will exercise some restraint. Carlos, you keep a close eye on her too. Carlos stares at the prince in surprise, realizing there is more to his decisions. Carlos points out, Lady Anna certainly does not seem like the sort of woman raised in a so-called distinguished family. Standing face to face, Carlos explains, although she attempts to conceal the kind of life she has led, there is no doubt that she has been forced to live a stifling existence. A vision of Anna standing alone amidst dark, sharp thorns appears as Silvio contemplates how she rarely asks for anything and is unused to receiving help, all because of her sister Melissa. In a chilling memory, Anna's sister Melissa looks back with a cold, piercing glare. Carlos turns back to Silvio and asks, is that somehow a problem? To me, she strikes me as nothing other than an independent woman. Silvio holds his chin thoughtfully and responds, Lady Anna has been hiding herself from the day she came here. That's how it appears to me. Scenes of Anna's life play out as Silvio reflects on how she constantly forces herself into the roles of the older sister and the Saintess, striving to do exactly what is expected of her. Adjusting his spectacles, Carlos inquires, so you mean Lady Anna is hiding her true self? Closing his eyes, Silvio answers softly, just a prediction, of course. As they continue down the dark hallway, Silvio explains, it's fine to act like a saintess when you're out in public, but she acts like that even when she's home. Standing proudly in his royal military uniform, Silvio remarks that home and public life shouldn't require the same exhausting facade. Silvio adds with determination, in any case, Lady Anna went to the trouble of finally letting her true self show. If I were to put a stop to that now, she'd just go right back to acting like a timid little mouse. Silvio flashes back to the very first time he saw Anna playing the piano at a recital, remembering that while her technique was not the most superior, her performance was unforgettable. Her fingers danced across the keys, and though her siblings were far better at playing exactly as written in the score, her music possessed a unique soul. The young prince sat in the audience, completely spellbound and deeply moved by the emotions in her melody. In his mind's eye, the two of them sat in a beautiful, glowing world of music and light. After the recital, the young prince nervously approached her in the crowd, calling out, "Lady Anna!" Blushing deeply, the young prince stood before her, trying to find the words to express how much he loved her music. Holding her skirts in a polite curtsy, the young Anna smiled warmly and replied, "Thank you very much, Prince Silvio." Looking at her radiant smile surrounded by yellow roses, Silvio remembers how her gentle, subdued voice still carried an undeniable underlying strength. Staring at her in awe, the young prince realized that this profound feeling was his very first love. Returning to the present, Silvio looks out the window, wishing for Anna to remain just as she was that day, recognizing that his feelings have never changed. Staring forward with absolute resolve, Silvio thinks to himself, "At least in front of me, I want her to be true to herself." The scene transitions to Prince Silvio's private dressing room, where the double doors are shut tight. Inside, Silvio unbuttons his white shirt to change as Carlos prepares his formal jacket and brings up the topic of Anna's similarities to someone else. Bare-chested and smiling, Silvio playfully dismisses it, saying, "Of course not," while realizing they do share a unique connection. Silvio slides his arms into his shirt and says, "I just mean it's not anything you need to concern yourself with, Carlos." Carlos sighs softly, closing his eyes in defeat as he tells Silvio, "You really are quite a peculiar person." Prince Silvio gently unbuttons his shirt as he prepares to change, a serene and soft smile gracing his face. Prince Silvio instructs Carlos, "I'll leave Lady Anna to you in my absence." Adjusting to his responsibilities, Carlos replies seriously, "Understood." Prince Silvio looks at Carlos with a calm, trusting expression, ready to depart for his official duties. With Carlos bowing respectfully behind him, Prince Silvio walks out of the dressing room to attend to his affairs. Silvio reflects deeply, realizing that neither the age gap nor the long years of silence that passed between their first meeting and now matter at all. To Silvio, Lady Anna is someone far more special than anyone else. Walking down the elegant hallway, he knows that this will always remain an unchanging truth. The quiet, dimly lit chamber rests in a peaceful blue twilight as the scene transitions to Anna's private quarters. Lying in her room, Anna recalls Prince Silvio's incredibly gentle words, urging her to do exactly as she pleases and reassuring her that she is more than welcome to cause him as much trouble as she likes. Staring blankly ahead, Anna wonders to herself, when was the last time someone said something like that to me? Watching Silvio's radiant, supportive figure in her mind, Anna blushes and thinks, "I simply can't believe he's 4 whole years younger than me." Throwing herself face down onto her bed in a flurry of emotions, Anna blushes deeply and sighs, "I'm no match for him, Prince Silvio." Dressed in her maid uniform, Anna holds a broom as a fellow maid runs up to her cheerfully, calling out, "Lady Anna, I finished cleaning over here." Anna smiles and replies, "Thank you. Then could you please take care of the backyard? I'll take care of the front entrance." The maid enthusiastically waves goodbye, shouting, "I'm off," as Anna happily waves back, replying, "Understood." Feeling a pleasant sense of purpose, Anna waves goodbye with a warm, genuine smile. Silvio's words echo in Anna's mind once more. "Please, feel free to do as you wish, Lady Anna." He had smiled so warmly while telling her, "For this is now your mansion as well." At the same time, Anna continues her daily routine of cleaning alongside the palace staff. Beyond her cleaning duties, Anna reflects, "I had also started practicing my magic little by little." Standing amidst the blooming flowers of the palace garden, Anna prepares to invoke her holy magic. Closing her eyes in prayer, Anna whispers, "O God, who dwells in the highest heavens." A beautiful, glowing orb of water materializes as she prays, "Grant the power of your holy grace into my hands." Anna stares in awe as her magic manifests flawlessly, surrounding her with a shimmering aura of light and swirling petals. Looking at the spell, she marvels, "So this is the magic that brings plants and trees back to life." Looking at her hands, she thinks, "The power of holy water is truly amazing." The maids who drank the holy water are overjoyed by its miraculous effects, noting that it can be used as drinking water and is highly beneficial for health, with one exclaiming that her skin is glowing and another noting her blurry vision has improved. Chibi Anna sweat drops and thinks, "That said, it's not like you'll instantly become young just by drinking it or bathing in it, but Clasping her hands together as they glow with magic, she resolves, if I can master it, there's a possibility I could get even better results. I should practice more. Anna looks up with determination, thinking, if I do, I might actually be of use to Prince Silvio. Suddenly, Anna gasps in surprise as a sudden presence breaks her concentration. Clutching her chest in embarrassment, Anna's heart races as she thinks, there I go again, thinking about the prince. I wonder what's gotten into me. Standing among the colorful flowers, she admits to herself, but I can't help but be curious. For him to treat me so warmly and kindly? Anna stands in deep thought, questioning, is there a reason for it after all? Anna's thoughts are interrupted as she senses someone standing right behind her. She turns to find Carlos standing there, his expression serious and analytical behind his spectacles. Carlos bows politely and informs her, Lady Anna, the prince has returned. Carlos suggests, let us call it a day and have dinner, to which Anna nervously replies, yes, understood. Carlos turns around smoothly to lead the way back inside the palace. Fearing she was overheard, Anna nervously asks him, by any chance, did you happen to hear what I was muttering just now? Carlos pauses, placing a hand to his chin as he replies smoothly, whatever could you mean? With a perfectly calm expression, Carlos reassures her, I have no idea what you are referring to. Feeling even more flustered by his stoic response, Anna thinks in disbelief, what kind of reaction is that supposed to be? Giving up on trying to read his thoughts, Anna sighs inwardly and thinks, well, whatever. Over dinner, Prince Silvio smiles warmly and asks, Lady Anna, how was your day today? Anna happily answers, today I did some cleaning and practiced my magic, to which Prince Silvio replies with a gentle smile, I am glad to hear it was a fulfilling day for you. Prince Silvio brings up a new topic over dinner, mentioning, regarding the saint's magic, it seems you will soon begin attending lectures, Lady Anna. In surprise, Anna asks, lectures? Prince Silvio explains, a saint's magic is rather unique. Apparently, there is a limit to how much one can master through self-study alone. Therefore, it is customary for saints to learn how to refine and control mana through formal lectures. Silvio describes how previous generations of saints would train under the guidance of experienced instructors to fully master their divine powers. Anna looks down thoughtfully, sweating slightly as she reflects on how difficult it is to control her mana. Recalling her practice from earlier, Anna remembers how she only meant to practice her magic a little, but it somehow ended up creating an entire blooming flower garden around her. Smiling warmly, Prince Silvio advises her that her lectures will begin in a few days and asks her to keep that in mind. Looking back at him with a polite, happy smile, Anna answers, understood. The next day, the bright morning sun shines over the magnificent palace grounds. Walking gracefully down the long corridor, Anna thinks to herself that she should practice her magic as much as possible before her lectures begin. Anna stops in her tracks as she hears a loud commotion down the hall, where a woman in a red gown is furiously shouting at two distressed maids to shut up, telling them they have nerve for mere maids. Instantly recognizing the voice, Anna gasps in surprise as the haughty Duchess Melissa Stella demands to know what is wrong with her visiting her own servant, claiming she used to be Anna's master. Emerging from the corner to protect her fellow staff, Anna calls out firmly, Melissa. The two maids cry out in relief, Lady Anna, while Melissa glares back at Anna with deep resentment, growling her name. Shoving the maids aside, Melissa angrily screams at Anna, accusing her of causing her suffering and demanding that she tell everyone it is all her fault. Looking down at the crumpled paper Melissa threw at her, Anna is shocked to see a formal disciplinary decree sentencing Duchess Melissa Stella to 1 month of house arrest and a fine of 2 million bell for threatening the prince with a smoke bomb during their previous encounter. A memory flashes back to that chaotic incident when Anna used her powers to release a brilliant cloud of smoke to escape with the prince. Anna reasons that Melissa was the one who prepared the dangerous gift in the first place, asking why she would commit such a disrespectful act against royalty. Melissa fiercely tells her to shut up, bragging that she was Prince Silvio's classmate and holds the rank of a duchess. Leaning forward with a wild, crazed expression, Melissa demands to know if Anna intends to defy someone of higher social standing, screaming in disbelief that she is the saintess and Prince Silvio's wife. Overwhelmed by jealousy and rage, Melissa screams that she refuses to accept it as she lunges forward to strike Anna. Anna flinches in terror as Melissa's sharp hand reaches out to strike her down. Melissa's face distorts with absolute malice as she screams that she refuses to accept that Anna is the saintess and Prince Silvio's wife. As Melissa tries to grab her, Anna instinctively throws her hands forward to protect herself, triggering her dormant magical powers. Under the sudden stress, a glowing, intricate magical crest manifests beneath Anna's hands, bathing the corridor in a brilliant light. Startled by the sudden blast of divine energy, Melissa cries out in shock as the powerful magic knocks her off her feet.
Melissa hits the floor hard, groaning in pain from the impact of being pushed back by the barrier.
A tense silence falls over the grand corridor as the glowing magic fades, leaving Melissa sprawled on the ground before Anna and the stunned maids.
Staring down at her hands, which still shimmer with faint traces of magical light, Anna wonders in disbelief if this was the true power of the Saintess. Gritting her teeth, Melissa glares at the floor in frustration, muttering under her breath about what had just happened. Glaring up at her with sweat dripping down her face, Melissa asks in anger if Anna was the one who did that. The two maids look at Anna with sparkling eyes of admiration, excitedly asking if that was her incredible Saintess power. The maids cheer happily, crowding around a flustered Anna and praising her magnificent and truly incredible power. Still sitting on the floor, Melissa looks on with a mixture of shock and envy, realizing that she was just defeated by the legendary power of the Saintess. The sound of heavy footsteps echoes through the corridor as a stern voice demands to know what all the commotion is about. Prince Silvio walks into the hallway, looking incredibly regal, prompting a surprised Anna to call out his name. Seeing her former classmate, Melissa's face lights up with hope as she calls out to him in a sweet, pleading voice. When Silvio coldly asks why she is here, Melissa desperately clings to his chest, pleading that the disciplinary decree and the incident with the letter were all just a huge misunderstanding. Melissa quickly shifts all the blame onto Anna, lying that the incident was entirely Anna's doing and that she had absolutely nothing to do with it. Pointing a spiteful finger at Anna, Melissa sneers that Anna is just an old spinster past her prime and is completely unworthy of being with him. As Melissa boasts that she is the only one truly fit to be his wife, Silvio cuts her off instantly with a cold, terrifying command. Silence. Startled by the sheer coldness in his voice, Melissa gasps in fear as a shiver runs down her spine. Silvio firmly removes her hands from his clothes, asking how she can claim to be fit for a royal when she barges in unannounced and causes a scene. Looking down at her with complete contempt, Silvio tells her coldly, "Don't make me laugh." Silvio declares with absolute authority that he has no courtesy to spare for anyone who insults his beloved wife, leaving a trembling Melissa in utter despair. Turning away, Prince Silvio commands his butler and guards to throw her out immediately, to which they respectfully comply. Melissa screams and cries out in vain as the guards drag her kicking and screaming out of the palace. Once the commotion settles, Silvio gently calls out to a worried Anna. The two stand quietly together by the large palace window as Silvio checks on her. Silvio admits with a warm smile that he had no idea she could use magic like that, and Anna replies that it happened so suddenly she surprised herself. Silvio chuckles and explains that he was at the castle discussing her upcoming magic lessons, but with power like that, she might not even need them at all. The butler returns to report that he has successfully thrown Lady Melissa out of the palace. Bowing deeply, the butler expresses his deep shame for failing to prevent Melissa's intrusion and asks them to accept his sincerest apologies. The butler explains that an apothecary happened to be visiting and he was busy attending to them, which delayed his response. Raising her hands frantically, Anna quickly reassures him, saying that she should be the one apologizing for all the trouble her sister has caused. But if an apothecary was here, Anna asks with concern, her eyes fixed on Carlos, "Are you feeling unwell?" Carlos smoothly adjusts his glasses, his expression perfectly calm as he replies, "No, there is no issue. I appreciate your concern." Carlos quickly shifts his focus, addressing the room. "Now then, all servants, return to your duties at once. My prince, you must prepare for your official duties as well." Meanwhile, Anna watches silently, thinking to herself, "He says he's fine, but I hope that's true." A beautifully prepared feast is laid out across the dining table, sparkling under the gentle, warm light. Over dinner, Anna looks down apologetically, her face filled with worry as she says, "I am truly sorry for today." Prince Silvio smiles warmly at her, gesturing gently as he replies, "Please, you don't have to keep apologizing. Please, eat up. I'm the one who should be apologizing." Prince Silvio explains, "I didn't want to taint a joyous occasion like our wedding, so I let Lady Melissa off with just the standard punishment. However, if she's going to hurt you, Lady Anna, I should have given her a much heavier sentence." His expression hardens with protectiveness. "Prince Silvio?" Anna mutters, looking at him with surprise. A cute chibi illustration of Anna sweating nervously beside a smiling Silvio highlights her flustered state. Prince Silvio smiles reassuringly at her and says, "There's no need for you to worry about anything, Lady Anna. Just leave everything to me." Anna remains quiet, looking down with a thoughtful and slightly troubled expression. Later that night, Anna lies awake in her bed, staring up at the ceiling in the quiet, dimly lit bedroom. Lying on her side, Anna raises her hand toward the light, reflecting on the day's events. The Saintess's power.
To think I could do something like that, she thinks, remembering how her magic protected her against Melissa's sudden attack. A flashback of Melissa's furious face appears in Anna's mind, recalling her shouting, "You're the Saintess? Lord Silvio's wife? I absolutely refuse to accept this," and screaming, "Lord Silvio!" Sitting up in bed, Anna clutches her hands to her chest with determination, thinking, I can't just rely on Prince Silvio. I have to face this properly myself. Outside, the Grand Palace stands peacefully under the starry night sky. The next morning, Anna is dressed in a beautiful dress. She thinks to herself, starting today, my lessons in Saintess magic at the castle begin. The castle really isn't that far from the mansion, but inside the carriage, Prince Silvio sits elegantly across from her. Anna calls out to him nervously, Prince Silvio? Anna sits straight in the luxurious carriage, looking at Silvio as she says, I would be perfectly fine walking there. Silvio looks at her gently and explains, No, Lady Anna, you are the Saintess now. If word got out that you were walking through town, it would cause a commotion. Silvio continues to advise her, please make sure to travel by carriage at all times. Anna listens intently, looking slightly surprised. In a cute chibi-style panel, a cheerful Silvio winks and says, from now on, let's ride in the same carriage every morning, leaving a flustered and shocked Anna speechless. The luxurious noble carriage travels smoothly down the city street toward the grand castle as Anna thinks, I'm still not used to these luxurious noble carriages. Silvio explains the details of her training. Lady Anna, from now on, you will be receiving lessons on strengthening and using your magical power. It's for 10 days, correct? Silvio asks, and answers, Yes, I've heard the instruction will be handled by first-rate magicians. An explanation of Saintess magic is shown describing how a Saintess's magic is extremely unique, meaning there is a limit to what can be learned independently. Therefore, whenever a Saintess appears, it is customary for lessons to be held covering everything from refining to controlling her magic power. Anna tightly clasps her hands together on her lap, thinking, and today is the first day of those lessons, which means Anna feels a surge of nervous excitement, thinking, this is my first real step into official duties as the Saintess. Silvio reassures her, saying, though if it's you, Lady Anna, you'll probably master it much sooner. Anna gasps in surprise. Silvio smiles and says, you were already able to use magic skillfully after all, as a memory of her casting a defensive barrier to push Melissa back flashes in her mind. Anna blushes slightly and quickly waves her hands, saying, no, that was only because of the situation at the time. She recalls her past, thinking, in the beginning, I was actually so poor at magic that I could barely use it at all. My magical power isn't particularly strong. A memory of herself in a maid uniform, struggling to manifest a tiny spark of light, comes to mind. Staring at her hands, she thinks, the Saintess's power surely isn't limited to this. It must hold far greater potential. Closing her eyes, she reflects, whether I'm truly worthy of it, nor can I say I'm confident. But then, her eyes snap open with resolve as she thinks, I still want to do everything I can. An image of Anna and Prince Silvio standing beautifully together among blooming flowers represents her strong determination to succeed by his side. With a determined expression, Anna speaks aloud, I will use this opportunity to properly train myself. Since I've been chosen, I want to fulfill my role as the Saintess properly. Silvio looks at her in surprise, whispering, Lady Anna. Silvio smiles warmly and says, as expected, you truly have a wonderful heart. He looks out the carriage window as he adds, but please, don't push yourself too hard. Silvio gazes at her with deep affection and states, no matter the time or circumstance, simply being yourself is enough to make you precious, Lady Anna. Anna's eyes widen as she whispers, Prince Silvio, touched by his incredibly kind and sweet words. Suddenly, the carriage hits a bump, jolting both of them and sending Anna sliding forward off her seat with a cry of shock. Before she can fall, Silvio swiftly catches her in his arms. The two end up in an incredibly close embrace, their faces only inches apart as they lock eyes. Realizing the sudden intimacy, Anna quickly places her hand against his chest to steady herself, her heart racing. Blushing bright red, Anna quickly pulls back and frantically bows, screaming, my deepest apologies. Embarrassed by her sudden reaction, Anna covers her face in distress, thinking, now it looks like I avoided him even though he was trying to help me. Waving her hands in a panic, Anna stammers nervously, that's not what this was, while Silvio watches her flustered explanation. Silvio smiles gently and reassures her. It's all right, for now at least. It's enough if you gradually get used to it. Silvio's gaze softens as he looks at her, thinking to himself, but Silvio suddenly reaches out and takes hold of her arm, pulling her slightly closer. Leaning in close to her ear, Silvio whispers smoothly, at the actual wedding ceremony, we'll be kissing, so please prepare yourself for that. Anna gasps, her face instantly flushing bright red as a shiver of shock runs through her.
Why would you suddenly say something like that? Anna stammers in sheer embarrassment, scooting away from him as far as she can, while Silvio calmly replies, "It's not really that sudden of a topic, is it?" A cute chibi panel shows Silvio smiling as he says, "We are going to become husband and wife after all," while Anna looks back at him, flustered and completely overwhelmed, muttering, "That may be true, but I've barely even experienced romance before," Anna thinks nervously. Prince Silvio replies with a gentle tone, "If you're saying that, then the same goes for me."
Prince Silvio smiles and raises his hand, playfully teasing her. "If sudden intimacy is difficult for you, shall we practice first?"
"Practice?" Anna repeats, confused. Silvio nods with a warm grin. "Yes, it's no different from magic." Silvio leans in close and says, "We could get used to it beforehand, with something like a cheek kiss," gently lifting her chin as his face gets incredibly near hers. Anna squeals in embarrassment, closing her eyes tightly as her cheeks flush bright red from the sudden intense closeness.
Just as the tension peaks, the driver calls out from outside, "We have arrived, Prince Silvio." Inside the carriage, Silvio continues to hold her chin as Anna squeezes her eyes shut, completely flustered.
Pulling back, Silvio calmly replies, "I see, thank you." Meanwhile, Anna stands frozen in place, clutching her hands to her chest with a red face. Anna watches Silvio as he gets ready to open the carriage door, pouting slightly as she thinks to herself, "I feel like he's teasing me." Prince Silvio turns around and gracefully extends his hand, asking, "Well then, shall we go, Lady Anna?" while Anna gazes at him, still blushing.
"Yes," Anna whispers softly, gently placing her hand into his palm.
As Silvio leads her out, his back profile reveals that his own ear has turned bright red, showing he was secretly embarrassed as well. As the two walk toward the grand entrance of the palace, Anna notices two figures in formal wizard robes and wonders, those people are... Standing by the palace doors are two magicians in elegant matching dark robes with silver linings, a tall green-haired man and a short red-haired woman. The tall magician steps forward and introduces himself. "My name is Osna Green, and I will be in charge of your instruction. I look forward to working with you, Lady Anna." Next, the red-haired magician introduces herself. "My name is Kami Walker. I will likewise be assisting with your instruction and support." Prince Silvio glares coldly at the instructors, warning them with absolute authority, "Make absolutely certain no harm comes to her." Silvio then turns back to Anna with a gentle smile and says, "Well then, Lady Anna, I must be off to my official duties. I'll come pick you up once your lessons are over." Anna bids him farewell, saying, "Please take care," as Silvio walks through the bright castle gates, leaving her alone with the two instructors. Turning to the red-haired magician, Anna smiles warmly and politely says, "Once again, I look forward to working with you today." Kami immediately clutches her head and groans loudly. Seriously? This is unbelievable. She then looks at Anna with utter contempt and thinks, when they said saintess, I expected some gorgeous beauty, but instead it's an older woman like this? Kami continues to mock her, shouting, "I feel bad for Prince Silvio. Imagine having to treat someone like you politely," leaving a shocked Anna completely speechless. Standing in a dark, ominous aura, Kami rants, "Poor Prince Silvio, to think he has to treat someone like you so politely." Anna can only stare back in absolute shock and disbelief, a drop of sweat sliding down her face as Kami's insults continue. Staring at Kami's hostile demeanor, Anna thinks, this feeling, it's almost as if feeling a strong sense of déjà vu. Remaining polite and dignified, Anna bows her head slightly and says, "I apologize for not meeting your expectations." This only angers Kami further, and she stomps her foot, yelling, So a saintess bows her head over something this trivial? Do you even understand what it means to carry the weight of a nation on your shoulders?" Osna quickly intervenes, placing a hand on Kami's shoulder to calm her down, saying, "Kami, there's no need to go that far, is there?" Kami angrily brushes his hand off, muttering, "Whatever," as she turns away in irritation. Looking back over her shoulder, Kami commands coldly, "Let's just get this lecture over with, saintess." Kami lets out a heavy sigh as she walks away, while Anna silently watches her with a calm expression. Sunlight streams beautifully through the large stained-glass windows of the castle's quiet hallway. Inside the classroom, Osna stands at the podium and announces, "Let's start by reviewing the history of this country." Anna sits attentively at her desk, while Kami stands in the back with her arms crossed. Holding an ornate history book, Osna asks politely, "I assume you have some level of knowledge about it?" Anna taps her chin thoughtfully and answers, "Yes, I did study it in the past, but..." A flashback of Anna's school days appears as she reflects, "Even so, that was back when I was a student." She remembers her long years of hard labor.
Ever since I became overwhelmed to the bone as a servant, I've barely had a chance to touch a book. I won't remember the finer details unless I review them. In the present, she smiles and requests, "Could you please teach me in detail?"
Kami immediately sneers, saying, "To think a saintess wouldn't even know something like that? This is ridiculous."
Anna sweats nervously, thinking she's been making snide remarks this whole time, but while Kami glares at her cross-armed in the background. Anna observes her closely and notes, despite how harsh her words are, I don't really sense much hostility or malice from her. Perhaps it's because my sister used to hurl baseless insults at me all the time. Remembering how her sister Melissa used to shout at her, Anna reflects, but this level of harassment doesn't bother me at all. Anna turns to glance at Kami, wondering, or does she have some other motive?
Annoyed by Anna's silence, Kami points her finger and screams, "You haven't said a single word this whole time. Do you think you can just sit there looking all smug? I can't do this anymore. I'm stepping down as your instructor." Storming out of the classroom, Kami calls out, "I'll leave the rest to you, Ozna," while Ozna desperately tries to stop her, yelling, "Hey, Kami!"
Anna is left sitting alone at her desk, completely dumbfounded by the instructor's sudden dramatic exit. Ozna turns to Anna and bows deeply, saying, "I apologize, Lady Anna. Please do not mind her behavior."
Ozna smiles nervously, sweat dropping as he adds, "She seemed a bit on edge today. If possible, could you please not hold it against her?" Ozna promises, "I will be sure to give her a stern warning later." Anna quickly waves her hand and replies, "No, it's fine. I really don't mind." Ozna sighs in relief and says, "As expected, the Saintess is truly generous. Please rest assured, I am more than capable of handling your lectures and training on my own." He then leans in conspiratorially, adding, "Also, please keep this a secret from the prince." Anna looks back at him silently, her expression thoughtful and quiet. Turning back to the chalkboard, Ozna asks, "Shall we continue where we left off, Lady Anna?"
Anna picks up her pen with a nod, replying,
"Yes." A beautiful mansion stands quiet and grand under the starry night sky. Silvio and Anna sit at a long dining table as Silvio asks, "How did your lectures go? I heard you had classroom sessions all day today."
Anna smiles warmly and replies, "Yes, everything went smoothly without any issues."
Silvio smiles brightly and says, "Is that so? Please let me know immediately if you encounter any problems." Anna looks at him with appreciation and softly says, "Thank you."
Anna's gaze turns thoughtful as she reflects on her day. She thinks back to her two instructors, Kami and Ozna. Anna reflects, Kami kept making snide remarks at me, yet I didn't sense any strong malice from her. Ozna, on the other hand, treated me earnestly, but his smiles didn't feel genuine. She continues, I could almost sense a flicker of guilt hiding behind that mask of his. Because I've lived a life where I constantly had to read people's expressions, I ended up noticing that subtle difference. Anna eats quietly, pondering, it's possible that the two of them, for whatever reason, are acting this way on purpose, but suddenly Silvio gasps in surprise as a splash of food stains his clean white coat. Anna stands up in surprise and concern, asking, "Are you all right, Prince Silvio?" Silvio waves his hands to reassure her, saying, "My apologies, I'm fine. I seem to be a bit tired. I've shown you a rather embarrassing side of me." Anna takes a napkin from the maid and approaches Silvio to help clean up the stain. Silvio looks at her in surprise and asks, "You know how to do things like that, Lady Anna?" Anna smiles warmly and confidently replies, "I'll have it clean in no time." Silvio stands up to leave and gently smiles as he says, "Thank you." Turning back to her, Silvio says, "Lady Anna, I apologize, but I will be excusing myself for the night." Left alone, Anna holds the napkin with a worried expression, thinking, Prince Silvio, has he not been sleeping? She recalls Silvio leaving early on previous nights, looking exhausted. Silvio's butler informs Anna, "The prince has been rather busy with governmental affairs, so for a while, I'll be escorting you to and from the royal castle in his place." I hadn't seen Prince Silvio at all, and I devoted myself to my saint training, Anna recounts as Ozna teaches her. Holding her pen during class, Anna looks thoughtful and thinks, he must have been really exhausted back then too. She remembers Silvio's tired, strained smile as he tried to hide his exhaustion. As Ozna writes on the chalkboard about holy water, Anna wonders, is there anything I can do for him? Suddenly, a brilliant idea strikes Anna, and her eyes widen in realization. Under the starry night sky, Anna thinks with determination, this is it. Later that night, Silvio returns to his quiet study, looking weary as he opens the door. He is surprised to find a glowing gift box sitting on his desk, wondering, this is? He reads the card. I made cookies sprinkled with holy water. Please enjoy them during your break if you'd like. Anna. He thinks to himself, handmade by Lady Anna? Silvio takes a bite of a cookie, smiling softly as he says, they're delicious.
The next morning, Silvio walks in looking refreshed and says, "Good morning, Lady Anna. Thank you very much for the delicious cookies the other day." Anna responds, "Not at all," while thinking to herself, he somehow seems even more dazzling than usual. Anna's eyes widen as she notices his clothes, thinking, Prince Silvio's clothes? Silvio eats his meal and asks, "Is something wrong, Lady Anna?" Anna waves her hands frantically and stammers, "No, it's nothing at all," while secretly thinking, "I knew it." She looks closely at his outfit and realizes it's the same outfit he had on when I caught a glimpse of him yesterday, which means he came home this morning? Anna's hand tenses as she holds her utensil, worriedly thinking, could he have secretly met someone last night? A troubling thought crosses her mind. Prince Silvio is in his early 20s, the prime of his youth, both physically and mentally. Compared to a 28-year-old bride chosen only by ritual, it would be perfectly natural for him to be infatuated with a younger woman instead. Noticing her quietness, Silvio asks, "Lady Anna, you don't seem to be eating very much. Are you feeling unwell somewhere?" Anna forces a bright, nervous smile and says, "I'm perfectly fine. The food is very delicious, too." In a cute chibi scene, Silvio smiles and says, "It seems you've become able to eat a wider variety of things now." Silvio smiles gently and says, "Just seeing that gives me the strength to get through the day." Anna looks down with a sad, conflicted expression, her heart heavy with doubt. A carriage travels quietly through the cobblestone streets of the town. Inside the carriage, Anna gazes out the window with a troubled and heavy heart. The butler across from her speaks up, saying, "Lady Anna." Anna looks at him, surprised, and asks, "Yes?" As he continues, "There's something I think you should know." He leans in and whispers, "A rumor has apparently been spreading that you and Osna Green are romantically involved." Hearing the scandalous rumor, the carriage driver outside jumps up in sheer shock, screaming, "What?" Shocked by the butler's words, Anna raises her hands defensively and exclaims, "That's absolutely impossible," while Carlos adjusts his glasses, sweating slightly as he replies, "Of course, I don't believe it myself," but her eyes widening in sudden realization, Anna thinks back to Silvio's early morning returns, wondering, could it be the reason Prince Silvio started coming home in the mornings is because he heard that rumor? Looking at Carlos with a tense, worried expression, Anna asks herself, does Prince Silvio know about that rumor too? Anna looks down with a sad, conflicted expression, thinking, so that's why he stopped holding himself back from going to see the person he truly wants to see? Carlos looks thoroughly confused and put on the spot, adjusting his glasses as he asks, "Pardon? What exactly are you talking about?" In a cute chibi scene, Anna nervously brings up her observations, but this morning Prince Silvio was wearing the same clothes as yesterday, only for Carlos's chibi head to dismissively reply, "There's no need for you to worry about something so nonsensical." Carlos then gives Anna a mysterious instruction, telling her, "Please go out to the garden around midnight tonight." Looking away with a calm but resolute expression, Carlos adds, "That's all I can say." Late at night, under a brilliant starry sky, Anna walks through the quiet garden of the estate, holding a lantern as she thinks, I came here just like Carlos told me to, but Anna catches sight of a mysterious figure dressed in a dark hooded cloak carrying a lantern through the darkness, and she decides to follow quietly. Hiding behind a bush, Anna spots the figure's face and gasps in surprise. His Highness, Silvio! He really is here! She worries to herself, I need to explain that the rumors about Osna are a misunderstanding and properly talk things out with him. She watches the prince disappear into a dense thicket, thinking with concern, but where exactly is he going? Approaching the thicket, Anna pushes some leaves aside and discovers a dark opening, thinking, a hidden passage in a place like this? Watching the dark trail, Anna's heart sinks as she thinks, so he really is going to meet someone? Suddenly interrupted by a soft meow. Looking down, Anna's surprised to find a calico cat rubbing affectionately against her boots, gasping, Mikey? Kneeling down, Anna gently pets the sweet cat under her lantern's light, smiling softly as she says, Are you trying to comfort me, maybe? But it's all right. Anna looks away with a bittersweet, melancholic smile, whispering to herself, I was prepared for something like this. She recalls Silvio's gentle smile and his reassuring words from when she first woke up. It's all right, Lady Anna. I'm simply relieved you've awakened safely. In her memories, Silvio's kind face appears again as he says, This place will become your home too, after all. Anna sadly wonders, maybe it was all just guilt over meeting another woman, or an attempt to keep me happy. She envisions Prince Silvio walking arm in arm with a beautiful, faceless young woman, reflecting, no matter how much people say he has no interest in women, he's still a young man in his early 20s. It wouldn't be strange at all for him to have someone he loves. In a chibi sequence, Anna tries to piece together Carlos's reassuring demeanor, thinking,
Though in that case, Carlos saying you have nothing to worry about still doesn't make sense. Maybe that was his way of trying to reassure me? She continues to ponder, but he doesn't seem like the type to lie either. When suddenly, Mikey the cat rustles loudly through the nearby bushes, letting out an active meow. Mikey dashes off deep into the dark woods, prompting Anna to run after him in a panic, crying out, "Hey, Mikey, no, wait!" Guided by her lantern, Anna is led deep into the dense, dark forest, suddenly realizing this place is the mountain behind the estate? Looking around the shadowy trees with concern, Anna wonders, where did Mikey go? She spots a glowing blue aura in a small clearing and finds the cat sitting quietly, thinking in relief, there he is. Anna scooped Mikey into her arms, saying, "Mikey, thank goodness," only to freeze as a rough, menacing voice echoes from the shadows. "So it was you, huh? The little trespassers who've been sneaking into this mountain lately?" Anna turns around in absolute horror to find a band of rugged, armed bandits surrounding her. One of them sneering, "That's a pretty nice sword you've got there. How about you hand over everything you've got along with a little compensation for trespassing?" Anna gasps, "Bandits?" The bandit leader brandishes his blade, saying, "So you were the suspicious presence I've been sensing around here lately," when suddenly Prince Silvio calmly steps into the clearing behind them. Anna gasps, "Prince Silvio?" Anna is struck with intense panic, sweating profusely as she thinks, what do I do? If something happens to him in a place like this, the entire kingdom will be thrown into chaos. Holding Mikey close to her chest, Anna's hands tremble as she worries, and besides, even I. She remembers Prince Silvio looking dazzlingly handsome in his royal uniform, reaching out a hand, thinking to herself, even if there's someone else he truly loves. The bandit leader lunges at Silvio with his dagger, screaming, "Prepare yourself, you damn noble," while Silvio stands his ground defensively. Terrified for his safety, Anna runs forward desperately, crying out, "Prince Silvio!" Still sprinting towards them with Mikey cradled in her arms, Anna screams, "Prince Silvio!" as the bandits turn in shock, yelling, "What? Who's there?" Anna clasps her hands together and begins to chant a prayer. "O divine God who resides above, grant unto my hands the sacred power of blessing." A brilliant, blinding holy light erupts from Anna's hands, illuminating the dark forest and forcing the terrified bandits to shield their eyes as they scream, "What is this? And so bright!" Glowing magical vines grow rapidly out of the divine light, snaking through the air and binding the bandits tight as they cry out, "Wah! And what the hell even is this?" The bandits crash heavily to the ground, completely tied up by the thick vines, while Anna holds Mikey close, catching her breath and thinking, it worked. Bound tightly, the angry bandit leader glares up at Anna, shouting, "Damn it, were you sent by the nobles? This mountain belongs to us!" Suddenly, a glowing blade of water and wind magic is held directly to his throat as a cold voice cuts him off. "This mountain does not belong to you." Silvio stands protectively in front of Anna, his magical sword drawn as he states, "It is a place that everyone living in this capital may enter equally." Anna looks at him with wide, amazed eyes, whispering, "Prince Silvio?" As Silvio stands elegantly, his sword swirling with dual elements, Anna is left completely stunned, thinking that was wind and water magic. Ordinary nobles can usually manifest only one attribute, but I once heard. She recalls the legend of magical aptitude, remembering the rule that only members of the royal family can broadly use all magic attributes. Silvio looks down at the captured bandits with an incredibly dark, terrifying glare, commanding coldly, "Leave this place immediately." In a comical chibi style, the bound bandits hastily crawl and scramble away in sheer terror, sobbing, "We're sorry!" Turning back to Anna, Silvio sheaths his sword and smiles gently, saying, "You saved me, Lady Anna." Anna holds Mikey close, sweating nervously as she thinks, maybe he didn't need my help after all. Looking at her with interest, Silvio asks, "But why are you in a place like this?" Silvio gazes at Anna with a quiet, waiting look, while Anna stands there, clutching the cat, sweating as she stammers, Sweating profusely, Anna bows her head deeply in a frantic, dramatic apology, shouting, I sincerely apologize. I never meant to interfere with your highness's romance." Anna explains to Silvio that Carlos told her to go to the garden that night and that she saw him leaving the mansion. Holding Mikey, Anna hurriedly adds, "I was only chasing after Mike. Then I saw you being attacked and thought I had to help." She continues to explain, "No matter who you were going to meet, I had no intention of interfering." In a cute chibi panel, Prince Silvio starts laughing softly while Anna clutches Mikey the cat in complete embarrassment. Confused, Anna asks, "Why are you laughing?" Only for Silvio to reply, "Because your assumption is completely off the mark. I wasn't planning to meet anyone." "Huh? Then why come all the way out to a mountain like this in the middle of the night? Anna asks as Silvio gently reaches his hand out to her. Silvio smiles warmly at her and says, "You'll understand once you see it, surely." Anna places her hand in his and gasps, "Whoa!" as they stand together under the brilliant night sky. They look out over a breathtaking, glowing landscape as Anna asks, "Is this the royal capital?" And Silvio replies, "Yes, it is. Beautiful, isn't it?" Silvio looks at her gently and says, "I came here to see this. There's no way I'd secretly meet someone behind your back." He adds with a warm smile, "You're also the first person I've ever shown this view to. Can you believe me now, Lady Anna?" Anna lowers her head with a bittersweet look, whispering, "Yes, I'm sorry for doubting you." Silvio sits down on a bench and asks, "But why did you think I was secretly meeting someone?" Anna looks away and admits, "There have been rumors that I'm having an affair with the instructor from my Saintis lectures. Prince Silvio is only marrying me because it's customary for the Saintis to become his wife." Gently stroking Mikey's back, Anna continues, "I thought perhaps because I was suspected of infidelity, you no longer felt the need to hold back around me." Silvio's eyes narrow slightly with a serious expression as he replies, "I know about those rumors." Looking into her eyes under the starry sky, Silvio reassures her, "But I believe in you, Lady Anna, because I know very well that you're not the kind of person who would do such a thing." Anna looks up at him with wide, emotional eyes, repeating his name softly, "Prince Silvio." Silvio smiles tenderly and says, "I'm sorry for making you anxious while adjusting to an unfamiliar life, but I'm happy that you were concerned about me, Lady Anna." Touched by his endless kindness, Anna asks, "Why are you always so kind to me?" To which Silvio replies, "It's only natural as your husband." Silvio then shifts the mood, pulling out a small drawstring bag as he asks, "By the way, how about this?" Inside the bag are delicious-looking cookies topped with bright orange jam. Handing them to her, Silvio says, "It tastes exceptional when eaten here," while a chibi Silvio smiles happily as Anna holds the pouch and replies, "Thank you very much." Silvio gazes out at the view and says, "To me, this place is somewhere I can free myself." He continues, "Before I found this place, there was only one memory that eased the suffocating feelings inside me." Anna looks at him with curiosity, wondering, a memory? Silvio recalls his past, thinking of the sound of a piano and the warm smile of the person playing it, as a gentle woman's figure appears in his memory. When Anna asks, "A piano?" Silvio smiles playfully and puts a finger to his lips, saying, "That's a secret for now." Anna takes a bite of the delicious cookie and quietly responds, "I see." Silvio gazes at Anna with a tender and affectionate look in his eyes, framed by soft pink flowers. Their hands rest on the bench, very close to touching, amidst a warm and romantic atmosphere. Looking at Anna, Silvio says softly, "Lady Anna, you are the one illuminating me." Silvio smiles as he continues, "With your light, I feel like I can keep moving forward," which makes Anna blush intensely in a cute, flustered chibi reaction. Anna turns her face away to hide her deep blush, murmuring, "How should I put it? I'm glad." Covering his face as he blushes, Silvio mutters, "Lady Anna, that expression," prompting a confused Anna to ask, "Is my expression really that strange?" Silvio looks at her shyly and says, "No, not strange. Rather, it's adorable." Gently reaching out to touch her cheek, Silvio gazes at her and whispers, "You truly are dazzling." Looking deeply into her eyes, Silvio asks, "Will you stay by my side from now on as well?" Anna blushes as his hand cradles her face, stammering, "If I'm not a bother to you, Your Highness," only for Silvio to reply, "A bother? Far from it." Leaning in close with a heartwarming smile, Silvio says, "In fact, it's exactly what I want." The two sit side by side on the bench, holding hands under the beautiful starry night as Anna realizes her feelings. May have been because I'd already grown fond of him. Looking at the starry sky, Anna's inner voice confesses, "The reason I was so shaken by the thought that Prince Silvio might be secretly meeting someone may have been because I'd already grown fond of him." Anna steals a glance at him and thinks, "Right now, the only thing I can do for Prince Silvio is avoid causing him trouble." She looks determined as she continues to ponder. The rumors about Osna and me having an affair? If those rumors spread any further, they'll damage his reputation as well. I have to do something about this. When Silvio notices her tense expression and leans closer, Anna nervously stammers, No, I was just wondering what to do since the Saintis lectures are held with only Osna and me alone together." Silvio's eyes narrow in sudden concern as he asks, "Alone together? Wasn't there supposed to be another instructor?" In a dark memory, a menacing-looking Osna appears as Anna explains, "Actually, they left on the first day and stepped down from the position."
Anna sits next to Silvio, holding Mikey as she explains that might be why the rumors started spreading, to which a surprised Silvio asks, something like that happened?
Silvio's expression turns incredibly cold and serious as he firmly states, "In that case, please leave those two to me."
Anna looks up at him, her eyes wide with surprise and a hint of worry at a sudden change in demeanor.
"I can't possibly trouble you, Your Highness, when you're already so busy with affairs of state. But, Lady Anna, now that you've been chosen as the Saintess, things like this may continue to happen in the future. That's why I want to learn how to deal with them using my own strength as well. Please allow me to resolve this myself. I can't oppose what you wish to do. But if anything happens, a dark horse-drawn carriage makes its way through the gates of the grand white stone royal palace. The source of the affair rumors? Yes, I wanted to know where the rumors originated from. I only happened to overhear the servants talking about it. Unfortunately, the exact source remains unclear. Most likely, someone orchestrated it deliberately. There are many who envy you for being chosen as the Saintess and being able to marry the prince. The rumors started after she disappeared. If it was her, after abandoning her duties, she would have had plenty of time to scheme. You should be careful around that man Osna as well. Is there something about him? I've heard his magical abilities are genuine and that he's a skilled instructor, but he comes from a regional noble family and one that's merely from a declining count's house. Apparently, he's the most successful among his siblings. I've heard he's always thinking about climbing the social ladder. He's probably desperate to bring honor back to his homeland. I see. Kami intentionally left Osna and me alone together. Osna was friendly toward me, but something felt off. The ones spreading the affair rumors were probably, as expected of Lady Anna. You pick things up quickly, even in practical exercises.
Since it's lunchtime, shall we take a break soon?
Yes. Anna sits quietly on a stone bench in the courtyard, opening her picnic basket and taking a bite of her sandwich under the warm sunlight. Oh, Lady Anna, did you bring your own lunch again today? Yes, there were leftovers from last night. Even after becoming the Saintess, you still have such admirable values. There aren't many people like you, Lady Anna. It's made me want to talk with you more. Talk, you say? We've finally gotten some breathing room in the lectures, too. Of course, I understand that you're the woman destined to become Prince Silvio's bride, but I still want to know more about you. If you'd prefer, we can keep it a secret. So how about having tea with me afterward? I must decline.
Anna looks up at Osna with cold, unyielding eyes, refusing his advances. Osna's eye twitches slightly in brief irritation at the sudden rejection.
I understand that. But doesn't the prince fail to see you that way? As you surely know, Prince Silvio can be rather cold-hearted, and he never allows women near him. He's the sort of person who's never even had a single romance rumor, until now. Would you mind not making assumptions and speaking as though they're facts? He treasures me more than enough already. But isn't that only because you're the Saintess rather than true love? Aren't you the one trying to cozy up to me for your own benefit?
Kami is involved in this too, isn't she? The ones who spread rumors about a relationship between you and me that never even existed, wasn't it the two of you?
What are you talking about? It's simply the truth. I had Carlos investigate various things as well. That's a bluff. But the way those two had behaved until now made it impossible not to suspect them. This is my only chance to shake them up. So you saw right through us, as expected of the Lady Saintess. Anna glares back defensively, her heart racing as Osna's polite smile vanishes, exposing his dark, menacing true colors.